All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is the Town Council meeting for December 5th. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting was included in the annual notice of the meeting schedule set forth in Resolution R-23-243, adopted by the Town Council at its regular meeting of December 20th, 2022, advertised in the official newspaper on December 29th, 2022, and January 5th, 2023, posted on the bulletin boards outside of the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted there. In addition, a copy of the annual notice has been available and is available to the public and on file in the office of the Township Clerk. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call. Thanks.
Councillor Cummings, absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock?
Present.
Councillor Price-Abrams? Present. Councillor Russo?
Present.
Councillor Schlager?
Here.
Councillor Terry?
Present.
Mayor Spiller?
Present, and we'll move the agenda with flexibility. First, we have a couple proclamations, and certainly, Councilman Terry, I know you're going to make sure those are read and presented tomorrow. Appreciate that, but certainly wanted to note, and I'll turn it over to you just to speak for, briefly about the proclamations and
Okay.
How they'll be presented and why they're being presented tomorrow. So please, Councilman.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Much. The 100 Club will honor the legacy of former Township Manager Joe Hartnett at the Giblin Gardner Community Service Award recipient at the 58th Annual Dinner on Wednesday, December the 6th. The 100 Club was established in 1966 and maintains a fund that was established to support the families of police officers and firefighters injured or killed in the line of duty. It provides scholarships to the qualifying children of the Montclair Police Department, officers, and firefighters. The award, created in 2009, was named in honor after the former Police Chief Edward Giblin and the former Fire Chief John Gardner. Joe Hartnett, as many know, was a manager here in the community for many years. I had the opportunity to work with him, and was a great man. Unfortunately and tragically, passed away just recently. The other recipient is Carl Zimmerman. Carl Zimmerman, a retired firefighter who achieved the rank of lieutenant, embarked his life journey in Newark before he relocated in Montclair in 1963. He earned his education in Montclair, graduating from Immaculate Conception High School in 1981, where he notably served as captain of the football team. In 1986, Carl joined the fire department, and in '89, he married his high school sweetheart, Kathy, welcoming and joining their son, Jake. In June 1997, Carl developed an enterprise founding Just Jake's, beyond being a successful businessman in the community hub, and he's a musician and offered entertainment at that location. So both of these individuals will be honored at the 100 Club tomorrow night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well deserved, and thank you for doing that. Appreciate that. We also have presented to us the minutes. So they're presented the minutes of November 13th, 2023. I so move.
Second.
Any corrections, additions, modifications? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we've got that. Next, we're going to open up to the CDBG hearing for the applicants for the 2024 Community Development Block Grants. Janice, I'll have you come on up. Thank you so much. And if you could just present an overview, and then, of course, I think many of us are familiar with the process, but explain it for everybody listening as well, and then the time allotted, and then we'll begin. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. The township received 9 applications from agencies to participate in the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Program, and we have representatives of each of those organizations here tonight to give a summary of what their proposed project will be. I know you have score sheets that I submitted to you. The purpose of this is to evaluate all of the applications and score them on your score sheet with you have a total of 20 points to allocate among the 9 applications that you'll be listening to tonight. And then give me that score sheet afterwards so that I can tally the numbers and prepare a resolution that prioritizes the various applications that are under consideration. So since we have everybody here, I think I'd like to start off with the first application, or the first organization, which would be Family Promise, and I know there's a handout at your seat as well. We have Tia Airy here tonight, who will give a brief description of their proposal for 2024.
Thank you. It's great to be here again. Family Promise of Essex County has been the proud recipient of CDBG funding for over 10 years. And we are extraordinarily grateful to Montclair Township and the council for your investment in our work over the years. We are proudly celebrating our 35th anniversary this year, originally named the Interfaith Hospitality Network for the Homeless of Essex County. We were founded in 1988 as a community response to the crisis of family homelessness. While our roots were in Orange, New Jersey, our administrative offices and Family Resource Center have been located within Central Presbyterian Church at 46 Park Street in Montclair since 2009, a fact that I was the one that moved us here, and I can't believe it's been that long, actually. You have before you a brief synopsis of the impact we've had in Montclair during 2023. As you can see, 40 Montclair households participated in our prevention program, receiving case management and financial assistance with rental or utility arrears. 2 Montclair families with 6 children were given emergency shelter, and 17 households were provided with free tax preparation services. While much of the financial assistance provided was made possible through the Montclair Rent Relief Fund and an individual private donor who lives in Montclair, Family Promise is able, in some cases, to braid these local funding sources with other federal and state funds to assist households in need. Unfortunately, as you will see, the need far exceeds our financial capacity to help. Last year, we put our application for assistance on our website so that we can track who is calling, where they're from, in a much more uniform way than we did in the past. And year to date, we've received 188 requests for assistance from Montclair residents. 22 of those requests were for emergency shelter, and 166 were for prevention assistance. So as you can see, the need for assistance far exceeds our capacity to help. This year we are requesting CDBG funding to expand our partnership with HomeCore. Several of the families that we assisted this past year were residents in HomeCore housing and needed help with prevention rental arrears. So we have talked to HomeCore about expanding this partnership so that our case managers can help those residents maintain their housing, and we can also help HomeCore with the recertification process that they need to go through in order to keep those affordable housing units. This has been a very valuable partnership for us, and we hope to continue that. We're also continuing to provide on-site services at Tony's Kitchen at least once a month. We have case managers there, and they've provided outreach to 1,000 or more people this year. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions additionally? Hearing none? Well, thank you so much for what you do. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Cynthia Kittay from Succeed Together.
Greetings and regrets from Marcia Marley. She just had a grandbaby this afternoon, a couple hours ago. So she's with the baby, not you. Sorry. Is it all right? Everybody in this room have read about and thought about pandemic learning loss. And it's been in the newspapers, it's been on TV, and we hear about it, but it's real. and the kids in Montclair have been experiencing it. Kids in Montclair need your help, and that's why I'm going to talk to you about that. The New Jersey Board of Ed did an analysis of Montclair schools this year, and they presented it in June. And what they found out is, well, yeah, there's been some improvement in math and reading scores in town, but, you know, it's only for some of the kids. And we're looking at the kids who didn't get the help, who didn't get improvement. And these are the kids from low-income households, kids of color, and kids, the kids of color and from low-income houses, families. Sorry about that. I'm just a little bit nervous. Thank you. And so we did, those are the kids, that's our target audience, and that's who we're trying to help. And we have help. The kids that we have now, 80% of the children that we helped this year got higher grades, and we've done it, and they've succeeded better. But there's a lot more kids that we can help. And these are our children in Montclair that are hurting. And Montclair we've always thought we're a nice bunch of people, and we're good schools, but there's kids who need help. These are the kids who can fall by the wayside. These are the kids who their futures are at stake, really. It's like, because you know how knowledge is accumulated and it's sort of a cascading effect. So if you're doing badly in second grade, that's probably because something happened in first grade that you screwed up. Then you get to, let's say, sixth grade. That means 1 through 5. You're doing poorly, and so this cascades up and up until you get to high school. And if you get to high school like this, a lot of kids would maybe drop out, or if they don't drop out, their future is limited because they did poorly, the grades are bad, they're not going to go to higher education. So that's their future, and there's been economists who have studied this. And for New Jersey, they said that the kids who are suffering from pandemic learning loss will lose approximately 20% of the annual income that they could have received had the pandemic not happened. And that's the problem with the pandemic and kids from lower income families. It started during the pandemic. It comes down to, of course, money. And during the pandemic, maybe they had one computer for 4 kids. So how could 4 kids all have classes at the same time? So they got behind that way. And maybe their parents weren't home, they had to work. So there's nobody over there making sure that they're watching, that they're doing their work. So it started from there, and these kids sort of like slip below the cracks. And the schools are doing their best with the way they have it. They're with their budgets, and they have a lot of problems they're trying to work out now. So we're trying to work with the schools, and that's how we're expanding. We want to use the money that we get from here to expand into the schools and do after-school work. And we've already talked to 2 schools about this. They do after-school programs for enrichment, and we're planning with them to do a free tutoring program, sort of a scholarship program that's going to be invitation only. We'll be talking to teachers, and we'll ask the teachers, who do you think needs help, and who do you think can't afford to have tutors? So we're going to start the programs in 2 schools, and hopefully we can expand to others. And we're also going to try to do a large outreach program. And for one more minute, I was going to say we really need your help, because we can't do this without you guys. Hold on. And this is Leanne Ferguson, whose daughter Maya has been going to school, together for 4 years, and will be a lot calmer than I am.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leanne Ferguson. I've lived in Montclair since 2004, and I just wanted to let you all know how important this program is to me and my family. My daughter started the program in the middle school, and she was not catching up on her grades, and we realized that with having resources from Succeed Together, she was able to accelerate and achieve academic success. The program has offered other outside resources that we have been lucky and very thankful to be able to receive. And without the tutors and the teachers that she has, she would have been one of those children that would have been left behind. It's not enough just to go to school and be able to just take in all the information in the classroom, especially for my daughter. She suffers some learning challenges. And having one-on-one after-school services is very important for her academic success. And we appreciate the program. For me as a single mother, it's beneficial financially because I'm able to have a sliding scale fee to be able to give my daughter these services. And it's very important because without being put in a position financially, I wouldn't be able to pay the scale rate that teachers offer when they do summer school programs or when they teach your child after school hours. So I think that we need to just step back and think about the children in this town that need that program, that are able to excel and move forward and look forward to a college,
Future.
life, yes. Sorry, but thank you so much. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just want to ask Leanne, I go back 25 years with Leanne because she used to own Mangoes, which is where I had my first parties. Did you graduate from Montclair State already and taking
got my
graduate school?
master's
Got your
in child
master's then.
advocacy
Good.
and
Child
policy.
advocacy. So I was just with the faculty group tonight. I want to ask you, and Cynthia too, you got $16,000 last year. What I want to do is, I'm going to give you a high rating, but there's 7 of us have to vote on this. So I'm going to give you a high rating because I want to see it go higher for you, get a little more resources. We can't always give you what you ask for, but I wanted to ask this question because maybe it'll be Janice that answers it. The whole national CDBG grants have been cut by 50% over the last years. And it started under President Bush, cut the CDBG from $6 billion nationally, $6 billion nationally. And we in Montclair used to get 600,000. Essex County used to get maybe 6 million. Everything's half of what it used to be, just so you know. And all of that comes from bad national policies that priorities were. And I remember President Bush said, well, we had to spend the money on the war in Iraq, so we had to cut back on these wonderful grants to our communities. So I wanted to ask Janice, maybe you can talk to Marcia about this too, Cynthia. Give her my regards and the baby. How are we going to get more money? We can reallocate more to you and take some from somewhere else, but we keep getting a shrinking pot from the federal government. So where does that all stand, Janice? Are we still cut back, or is there a way we're going to get more of this? Because now we've got a president, at least, that's favorable, even though the Congress isn't.
Well, that's a very good question. I have not been, what I've been told is that it will remain the same, even. It is 50% of what it was in the 70s and 80s, but at least there's no decline. We're holding steady at the same rate for the last couple of years. I think the best way to keep the money is to spend it.
Well, that's
To spend it.
And with inflation now, it makes that money even worth less.
Right.
That's the big problem.
You have to stretch it further, but that's, okay, the point is, let's call our Congress people, let's get our people from, Washington to appropriate more for this very, very good program.
Well, and one of the big main problems is if we want to hire staff, and hiring now costs more than hiring a year ago, 2 years ago.
I know.
And that's what we're going to use the money for, is to get people who will work for us. who are
Okay,
good. Okay, thank you.
we'll do our best. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia and Leanne. Next up, we have MNDC, and Reverend Craig Dunn is the representative who's here tonight.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, and everyone. I heard what Cynthia was saying and what Tia was saying. I've been affiliated with MNDC since I was 10 years old. Took my first martial arts class there in 19-something. And we've been in the same location since 1969. We're one of the oldest community service organizations in the community. This past year, we had over 100 students in 4 schools in our after-school program. This past summer, we had close to 60 young people from kindergarten through 8th grade in our Summer Oasis program. They were exposed to aviation through Eagle Flight, music, art, children's book illustration. They were exposed to soccer with a professional soccer player, pickleball, chess. We even had a young man who learned how to play chess in one day and tested through academics in a 3rd grade student who tested at 7th grade level. In the past, our summer program was basketball focused. This year, it was academically focused with enrichment built in. One of the things we try to do at MNDC is build a lot of partnerships. We partner with the Y. We partner with the school district. We partner with other organizations in the community. One thing that really stuck out this summer for our children is that at the end of our program, which ended on the 18th of August, that Saturday the 19th, the Y provided bus transportation for all our families to go to the day at the lake, camp at the lake, where our children were exposed to swimming, boating, fishing, archery, even making s'mores. But there were some young people who were so excited about going to the camp because they had never been to a lake. Some of them had never been on a boat. Some of them had never had archery or participated in archery. But I see these young people all summer long, and I see them in our after-school program, and I see them as they come to our Wiley Choice Center. We partner right now with the Montclair School District. We have 9 students in the community-based instruction program who are going to school at the Wiley Choice Center Monday through Friday. We are partnering with Mill to expand our senior programming. So now instead of 3 days at the Wiley Choice Center, we have 5 days of senior programming. So in all of this, we are looking to continue to do job training for young people, to develop our youth, to support families, because the bulk of our business is homeless prevention. We help people with recertifications of Section 8 and vouchers. We do homeless prevention, so we did about 191 cases this year of Montclair. And according to statistics, the area around Glenfield Park is the most deprived area in Montclair. There's 3,500 people who live at or below poverty between Walnut Street and Lincoln. And we're doing our best to change that. And lastly, personally, I hate when people say college is not for everyone. There's a book called Their Highest Potential. And every child will rise up to the potential you set for them, the bar you set for them. We keep lowering it. At MNDC, our goal is to raise it so that these young people will have a path. When I was a junior in high school, someone said to me, guys from the ward don't go to college. And he started naming guys I grew up with. They either went to the military or they went to jail. On my 8th grade basketball team from Glenfield, there's only 5 of us alive. So I was intentional about coming home after college to show this community that, yes, you can go to college. We don't have to lower the bar. And that you can get a degree, or at least if you're not going to get a degree, at least learn how to read, because all these trades, you have to have education. And we're doing the best we can to support that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Next on our list is Oaks Integrated Care, and we have Michael Rivera here from Oaks.
Good evening, folks. How are you? Mr. Mayor, council folks. I'm going to warn you in advance. If I start coughing, I'm getting over a cold that would kill an elephant, so don't take it personal. I am the new program director at COPE. I've been there since September. And while I may be new to COPE, COPE is not new to the community. CDBG funding, the first time that I ever heard of it was when I actually started this job. I have been in the substance abuse treatment field for 25 years, and this is probably one of the most amazing initiatives that I've ever heard of, where it's community-based and community-based funding. So our initiatives before were basically focused on helping combat homelessness with people that suffer from substance abuse and mental health disorders. As everyone in here knows, the COPE Center's primary focus is we are an outpatient substance abuse program. We service both adults and adolescents, and we provide substance abuse services and mental health services. In addition to that, we provide psychiatric services, medication monitoring, and we also provide medication-assisted treatment. So what we're proposing to do this year for fiscal 2024 is called the Utilities, Medicine, and Food Assistance Act. I heard what some of my colleagues said in regards to things like the pandemic and homelessness in the community. And since 2020, like I said, I've been doing this for about 25 years. I have never seen a more dire need for services than I have since 2020, since the pandemic hit. What we're proposing to do is utilize any funds that are sent our way to provide case management and supportive services in addition to the substance abuse and mental health services that we offer to residents of Montclair. So basically what I'm talking about is you have somebody that is having difficulty putting food on the table. Okay, we're going to get you over to the Board of Social Services, and we're going to get you plugged in with either TANF or general assistance. You're having issues getting to medical appointments. We're going to help you with that. You're having a problem with utilities. We're going to find programs for you, and we're going to get you involved with that. Complete case management services and wraparounds. Kind of take some of the burden off of the households that are dealing with addictions. In addition to that, continue the work that we do with the addictions and the mental health component of things. And when I say medication, I'm not just talking about, people often stigmatize medication to mean, okay, it's just he's talking about mental health or medication-assisted therapies for people with substance use disorders. Yes, that is two of the medications that we're talking about, but I'm also talking about physical medications. You have a blood pressure problem, you have diabetes, we're going to get you plugged into services that can help you with that as well. So I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and simple to the point because I don't want to be coughing all over your microphone. But I do want to thank you for the previous assistance that you guys have given us, and I really am looking forward to continuing the work in the community.
Mr. Rivera, just the name on here is Oaks Integrated Care, formerly COPE. So what is the new Oaks Integrated Care? Is that a national network or?
It's not national, sir. It's actually a larger company that's down in South Jersey. They acquired the COPE Center in 2020. So we're still the COPE Center, but we're now under Oaks Integrated Care. We're, I guess you could say, the most northern outpost, and sometimes it feels that way. So,
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Next is SOFIA, and we have Divin Bajpal and Kristen Wald to present.
Am I allowed to? Absolutely.
Not like the judge, right?
Everyone just got that. Thank you. Do you want me to?
Good evening, everybody. Mayor, Councilman. We are from SOFIA, and Kristen Wald is our Vice President. She's representing today along with me. I'm Divan Bajpai. I serve the board. I've seen many of familiar faces here from the walk. That is one of our ways to raise the funds. Cynthia Walker is not able to come today, but there is a letter attached, and I'll let Kristen take care of a couple of the bullet points from the letter, and then I'll go over the program details, and then we can address any questions that you may have.
Yeah. And so Cynthia really did want to be here tonight, but she wasn't able to. This letter just highlights a couple of the aspects that we've been very grateful to be able to develop with the money that the council has given us through this grant. One of the main things that we developed over the last couple of years is that we started to provide therapy and counseling to domestic violence victims and their families, and we have been able to do that in Spanish as well as English for people who needed that. We also continue to do our sort of success programs, which are financial and self-empowerment programs, which are free and open to the community. The therapy is specifically for clients of SOFIA, but the sort of success program is open to clients, but it's also open to anyone, which is part of our outreach and part of our erasing the stigma of domestic violence. And they've been very popular, and since the lockdown for COVID, we've done it over Zoom, and that's actually raised our attendance, and so we've continued to do it now as well, because people have found it easier with childcare, et cetera, to be able to attend. And one of the things that we wanted to highlight is that with all of our programs, with the therapy, with the workshops, one of the things we try to do as part of the community is to utilize individuals with skills in the community. So our therapists for our programming for our clients in the community are therapists from the community. And so that means that the money that we are paying stays here. And several of our volunteers for workshops we've been able to pay them for the workshops, and several of them are former clients of SOFIA. And so we've been able to turn around that for people in the community and empower them to be able to contribute back. And I'm sure you all understand how important it is for people to feel that autonomy and to feel that contribution, so that they have a certain sense of well-being and joy and pride in themselves. So we do plan to continue to support both local individuals and businesses when we're able to, and to incorporate new ways to reach the community. And we've had so many wonderful partnerships with many of the groups here, as well as businesses and organizations in the community as well. I often go to the high school several times a year and give presentations, as well as many of the houses of worship and other organizations as well. What's also in this packet are some details about some of the outreach programs we have every year, and we also included some background and feedback from people who participated in the programs as well. And I apologize for my printer being a little bit spotty. I think you can still read it, but so I think Dee would like to add a few details to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to take everybody out of this council room to a place which I sometimes visit, sometimes too many times that I don't want to visit, and that is a police station when a victim of domestic violence comes in. It could be 6 p.m., it could be 6 a.m., sometimes it is 1 a.m. And at that time, domestic violence response team members are supposed to join in with the law enforcement team as the New Jersey directive. When you see these people, you are talking about, I want to connect these programs, how important they are, that these people are broken. They don't know where the next meal is coming, what are they going to do tomorrow, or will they have food on the table, or will they be safe? So from that angle, when we are talking that dire breakdown of a human being, to rebuild is quite a process. It takes a village. We do our part. We involve, if you look at the examples of the workshops we're talking about how to do more with the applications from technology angle, but we are talking about authenticity, something very simple but difficult for a survivor to adhere to. So these are really building up individuals who will become productive again and become the part of the society that we all are. And if you look from that angle, each person who does not become homeless, each person who does not become a repeat victim, that's lower, that impact is big on the township. So lower police calls, police officers could actually go to places where they are more needed, and also, in terms of the support services, there is a lower impact. So what we are doing we are building not just the society, we are trying to reduce the overall impact when the problem becomes much bigger. So with that said, last year we served about 340 families. Our goal this year is modest goal, about 375 families, and we want to invest everything that our volunteers bring in, people like our presenters, therapists who contribute to well-being of these individuals. We really are looking to maximize the value proposition of each and every penny we get.
Councilwoman?
Thank you both for the presentation, really, everybody. So I'm just interested, because of the part you explained, really this very tangible way, that how is it that you get the call? How is it that does the person who's come in, who's been, I guess, subject to abuse in some fashion, so in the police, how is it that you're called? Did they have to know to have you called? Or is the relationship you already have with the Montclair Police
Yes.
Department? Can you share a little bit about how that works?
So that is from the New Jersey State Director, that
Okay.
every police department will be calling a domestic violence response team member within the township.
So do we have others? You are one of, from
Yeah,
different organizations?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and it's not by organizations alone. It's by people who
Who've gotten-
respond.
But people who've gotten certain training to do that?
Yes,
And in
trainings,
Essex County,
certifications,
the Essex County Prosecutor's Office runs the program.
Okay, thank you, I didn't know that.
and it's a mandatory law, so everybody gets a chance to speak with somebody who can give them resources. And when people are talking about resources, these are the type of resources that people are looking for, other than safety and getting a restraining order and other things that are not relevant here in this program.
Oh, thank you.
Any other
Mayor.
questions? Councilman?
Question, your increase in request is like 4 times what you did get. We have one group later that's getting maybe 80,000 less than last time, so maybe we can even it all out, but it's very hard for us to give you what you request. I've always supported SOFIA since the beginning when Cynthia and I got involved with Assemblyman Giblin, who gave her first $1,000. Here's my question, though. It's indicated here that you've had a lot of work with Bloomfield College. Now, I was just at the faculty meeting where Bloomfield faculty have all been merged with Montclair State. So Montclair State has now taken control of Bloomfield College. We're helping them survive. Can you tell me if you have anything that you've been doing with Montclair State directly before this? Or will be doing it through the Bloomfield College connection? How about the Montclair State connection?
Yeah, we've given presentations to social work classes,
Good.
et cetera, and we've also done outreach programs at different Montclair State events.
Okay. So that could continue with the Bloomfield
Oh,
College stuff?
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we have had volunteers from Montclair State that
Students
have worked with us.
in the social work field.
Yes.
Oh, yes, good, good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have strategic mentoring, and Joe Davis is here to present.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Joe Davis. I'm the Executive Director of Brother-to-Brother Mentoring, or Strategic Mentoring. I'm here with my Program Director, Alex Hunter. And we are fortunate enough to continue the good work of Brother-to-Brother Mentoring. I'll give you just a little brief background. I don't know if everyone got a brochure or not, but I do have them in case you do want one. But so Brother-to-Brother covers an extensive range of activities and workshops and ensuring a holistic approach to personal development, from stress-related workshops, yoga and meditation, techniques, college tours, hiking, biking, and an extensive list of trips. And our offerings are diverse, catering to a wide spectrum of interests and needs, and we recognize the importance of addressing the issues that matter to young men today, including dating etiquette, bullying, substance abuse prevention, And we do this through engaging lectures and interactive discussions. In addition to promoting personal growth, we place a strong emphasis on community engagement and giving back. Through community service projects and career days, our participants learn the value of being active contributors to the communities and explore potential career paths. Financial literacy is a vital aspect of our program, equipping our young men with the skills they need to make informed financial decisions in their future. Enrichment is another key component of our program, and we offer a diverse array of opportunities from art and music appreciation to tennis, chess, golf. We have robotics and entrepreneur workshops, which provide a unique platform for nurturing creativity and innovation. Physical fitness is promoted through activities like boxing, basketball, fitness challenges, and encouraging healthy lifestyles and teamwork. So we understand that some of our young men face unique challenges and come from disadvantaged backgrounds. Our program is inclusive and accessible to all, irrespective of their circumstances, and we are committing to breaking down the barriers and providing support to those who need it most, ensuring that no one is left behind. In summary, our team mentoring and enrichment program is more than just a service. It's a transformative journey for our young men, equip them with the skills, knowledge, and experiences needed to thrive in the complex world of today. So we plan to use the monies and the funding from CDBG to establish a STEM and STEAM program. And in today's rapidly evolving world, the significance of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and its integration with arts, or STEAM, has never been greater. So these disciplines form the bedrock of innovation, offering young minds the tools to navigate an increasingly complex and interconnected global landscape. STEM, or STEAM, education empowers youth with critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, fostering a generation of adaptable individuals who are poised to drive advancements across various industries. As technology continues to reshape every facet of our lives, equipping our young learners with STEM and STEAM skills have become paramount for their future and success. So a stark need exists to bridge the existing gaps in STEM and STEAM education, particularly young men and men of color. Statistical disparities persist in access to quality education and opportunities within these fields, perpetuating a cycle of underrepresentation. This program recognizes and addresses these challenges by providing a targeted and inclusive environment by tailoring the workshop series to resonate with the experiences and interests. We aim to foster a sense of belonging and relevance, igniting a passion for learning and self-improvement that will transcend societal barriers. So right now we're looking at roughly 60 current students in the program, looking to add another 40 to benefit a total of 100 students in 55 households. We are doing this with and continue to build our network with partners including the Salvation Army, the Montclair YMCA, and our partners at 11 Pine Street. So our population right now, the project targets are school-age boys from the 4th grade through 12th grade. The STEM workshop series is designed to benefit the underserved groups within the Montclair community, aligning perfectly with our focus on supporting the initiatives that serve those who are risk or marginalized. By actively addressing these barriers that hinder equal participation in STEM and STEAM education, the program strives to create an inclusive environment where young men feel valued and empowered and motivated to pursue their academic and professional aspirations. The population needs are assessed by me, the executive director, and are based on interviews with the youth, their family members, school personnel, members of the community, and national data. The envisioned outcomes of this program are diverse and impactful, and students who engage in these workshops are expected to exhibit enhanced problem-solving skills, increased self-confidence, and heightened creativity by nurturing a fascination for futurism architecture among young students. And the program aspires to kindle an early interest in architecture, engineering, and art, thereby fostering a pipeline of budding talents for the future. So, we're requesting the money that we're requesting, $15,000, will go to the STEM program and building that. As I said, I do have brochures. If someone would like, a brochure to know more about brother-to-brother mentoring. But that's the information I wanted to share with you tonight. If you have any questions, concerns, I gave a lot of information. I got to write it down because I don't want to miss anything. So, yeah. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Appreciate that.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
I hope to see everyone at our pancake breakfast on January 20th.
When is that, January 20th?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Best pancakes, good pancakes.
They're great pancakes.
Next, we have Angelica Diggs, who is the Executive Director of the Montclair History Center.
I would also like to approach the bench to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone, and Mayor, Council. Thank you for having me this evening. So I'm Angelica Diggs, and I'm the Executive Director at the Montclair History Center. So tonight I am presenting on an application for barrier-free access to one of our historic sites, which is the Nathaniel Crane House. So the two handouts, one is more just information on us, which I'll summarize tonight, and the other is a little more informational to summarize the project request with some visuals, which you might find helpful as well. So just a little bit of background. The Montclair History Center was founded in 1965 as the Montclair Historical Society, and our mission is to preserve local history, educate others about its importance, and share the stories of the people who have made the community what it is today. We are the stewards of 3 historic sites on our Orange Road campus. So the first includes the Crane House and historic YWCA. So this serves as our public museum, telling the stories of the Crane family, including the stories of those who were enslaved and servants that were part of the household from 1796 to 1900, as well as the period when it was a YWCA for Black women and girls from 1920 to 1965. And most recently, it's transitioned to a museum telling the story of preservation in its formative years in America from 1965 to 1970. We also operate the Clark House. This holds our archives, our research library, and museum offices. So we preserve and maintain a collection of over 10,000 archival materials, as well as 5,000 artifacts as a part of our museums, ranging from 18th to 20th century history, very site-specific to Montclair, New Jersey, and the tri-state areas. Library is a really valuable resource for teachers, students, historians, you name it. People come in on a weekly basis to access this information. So the Nathaniel Crane House, which is the focus of the application tonight, operates as our visitor center and additional programming space for our sites. The historic site includes specifically a 19th century general store and schoolhouse exhibits used heavily for educational programs, as well as a modern gift shop for visitors. So Nathaniel Crane House is located behind the Crane House and Clark House, if you are not familiar with the property itself. So these buildings plus 2 acres of property, including learning gardens and the Montclair Community Farms, also make up the Orange Road campus of our organization. So we offer a variety of educational programs throughout the year, serving Montclair specifically, but also greater Essex County. These programs include museum tours, summer camps, walking tours, film series, field trips, outreach programs, you name it. We're proud to host Montclair's 3rd graders every year, going on 40 years now, I think. And additionally, we serve other school districts, including, for example, all of Newark's 2nd graders come for history field trips as well. So our historic buildings and grounds are essential for us to being able to serve the public. And with historic buildings comes challenges for access, which brings us here tonight. So our application seeks to improve the access barrier to the Nathaniel Crane House. So the materials I gave you in the second handout show the architectural plans. If you wanted to take a look, you're welcome to upgrade the space. These improvements include an ADA ramp that will be installed. There is no ramp currently on this building to access inside. So that would provide access from the parking lot itself. A wider door to that entrance into the building so that it is ADA accessible. Improving the grading and the front entrance of the building, which would improved access to the stairs, as well as new railings to also be installed at that front entrance. That would make access easier as well. So this project is managed by Sionis Architecture of Montclair, Anderson Engineering Consulting, and also the New Jersey Historic Trust. All project plans have been approved by the Montclair Historic Preservation Commission and Zoning Board of Adjustment as of this summer, so that's all in line. We're requesting the $15,000 to complete this project. The project total cost is estimated at $30,000 for a capital project. We have the other match already from New Jersey Historic Trust in hand, so that's all lined up as well. The Nathaniel Crane House, just to reiterate, is really used for a variety of educational programs and events, and most importantly, our field trips each year. So thousands of individuals, about 6,000 people come in and out and access that space on a regular basis. We've documented instances where people would have to change plans, could not get inside, or could not partake in all activities because of that barrier. So we were really seeking to improve that for the public as a part of this. And our mission is really to make our resources accessible to all individuals and create an opportunity to participate, to connect with Montclair's history, which is important and crucial to our mission as well. Without the completion, the first level Nathaniel Crane House will remain inaccessible to certain people visiting our sites. So I thank you for your consideration. And of course, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Any questions?
Just a quick question I always have, but you've only asked us for 15, but you got 90 last year. Is that correct?
So
90,000?
the 90 is for phase 1 of the ADA, which is for the Clark House. So this phase 2 for the Nathaniel Crane House is a phase 2 of the project. So the total for that is 30,000. We have half. We're seeking the other half of
But
it.
now the 90, as we were saying before, we have to use it. Somebody said that before. It was important we use it. So
Yes.
what's the status of the 90 that's
Well,
been
we
used?
will use it. What happens is this is a capital project, and it's not an annual cost like we have with the other service agencies. So it's essentially a one-time cost. And we have other applicants tonight who also have capital projects, in addition to the township's capital projects. So we always have more projects than money. That's the reality.
And I'm happy to say we're about to enter into bidding for the Clark House from last year's project. So that will be completed, I'm hoping, early spring. So as we get there in 2024. So
Thank you.
thank you. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Angelica. Next is Neighborhood Council, and here tonight we have Stanley White and Victor Deming, who are with the Neighborhood Council. They've also brought their contractor, who's in charge of putting the new roof on the house. That's Ronaldo Nezeraj. I think I butchered his name, but thank you. Nezeraj. Okay, Nezeraj.
Good evening. I'm Stanley White. I'm the president of the Neighborhood Council. With me here tonight is Victor Deming, the treasurer of the Neighborhood Council. I will begin by giving you a brief history of the site, and Victor will follow with the details for the application for funding. In the early 1900s, the Junior League started the use of 50 Maple Avenue as a site for community service. Some of the services included immigrants were assisted in preparation for citizenship. The Montclair Health Department began in this site, and it also provided daycare for parents that were working. In 1946, the Junior League signed ownership of the facility to the Neighborhood Council. Sometime thereafter, the late Miss Anna Coleman became president of the Neighborhood Council. She remained president until her death in 2011. Fortunately, I had driven Miss Coleman to many of the county evening award ceremonies for the Community Development Block Grant. It gave me some insight for some of what was involved when I succeeded her. In 1970s, under Ms. Coleman's guidance, the council purchased the adjacent building at 48 Maple Avenue with government funding and under the direction of Martin Dassa and his architectural firm. The two buildings were connected to form the structure that exists today. Mr. Deming's going to let you know about the project that we're planning on doing.
Thank you, Stanley. Mayor Spiller, council members. You know, we're seeking to see DBG monies to replace the existing roof and also gutters and leaders. And what we have done, we have gone out and we were able to come up with a project, a vendor, Elliott Works. They're out of Clifton, New Jersey. And Mr. Ronaldo Nezarai, who will speak in a minute, will give you the details. Currently, we're seeking to replace the roof. And more than likely, we're probably talking about a capital project. And that's because the existing roof, quite frankly, it's been there 30 years. It's leaking. And so we have had this architect who has been monitoring on a regular basis the roof, and we now recognize there's a need to replace the roof. So you said the neighborhood council. Yeah, we're the neighborhood council who's been in existence for years, and one of the things that we do, we have a child care, the neighborhood child care, with approximately 85 students to include now this year universal pre-K. So it's all one continuous operation organization. In addition to that, we have administrators, 26 administrators and instructors. And quite frankly, even though we're not in the child care business, I feel that it's conceivable that as someone responsible for a building which houses children, we have to be very concerned about the health and safety, not only of the children, but everyone who visits the center, and we do have a lot of visitors. Right now, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Ronaldo and ask him if he can provide you with some insight as to what we're planning to do for the roof, and for the replacement of the roof. And I believe you do have a package that.
Before you do, before you turn it over, what's the dollar amount that you guys?
Oh, I'm
received?
sorry, $53,400.
So Janice, as you see that, right? So the information we have is talking about your furnace, and
that was
not.
That was last year, sir.
Okay.
That was my mistake. It's in the memo, but I probably didn't put it in the checklist.
Right.
Okay.
If you look at the memo.
Yeah, there was Mr. Chen.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Ronaldo Nezirai. I'm with Elite Works, and I will briefly give you a walkthrough of the problem, the causes from it, and the end of the solution. So after closely inspecting the roof, it has extended its lifetime and also has currently multiple leaks, and the potential risks are, the structural integrity of it is not safe. Also, it has leaks that can cause further damage to the interior of the building. And basically, there are two quotes. One of the quotes includes the roof replacement itself, excluding the base, the plywood sheathing, and also the itemized gutter. And then the next quote includes the sheathing, the plywood sheathing. We believe is necessary because there's many layers put onto it, and especially that the majority of the roof space is a flat roof. So the risk is that, since it has many layers, and during winter, with the weight of snow and also water accumulating, it can lead to potentially ceiling collapses. And the solution would be to do new plywood, then put the roof layers on, and then have a good drainage system. So we're replacing the gutter system too. And happy to answer any questions. The manufacturer would be GAF. That's the largest used in North America. We're certified and trained with GAF. They're also based in New Jersey. and the warranties and more. We've given all the details, and happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Deming or Mr. White. So on the description, it says that the building, 30 Maple Avenue, is leased. So who owns this building?
No.
Owns the facility.
Yes, the council.
I see.
The council owns the facility,
Okay.
and it's the childcare who rents from us.
Oh, okay.
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 Two separate 501c3s.
Okay. Good. Yeah, the description wasn't as clear. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Janice, do you need us to bring any additional information for the council person?
Well, if you have anything to hand out, that's fine. I didn't copy
No,
anything.
I did not.
But you have links to all the application materials in the memo. So if you click on it, the link in the memo, that'll give you all the application materials in addition to the summary.
If there are no more questions, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Councilwoman Price Abrams does.
Thank you. So, I don't know what the overall cost of the replacement roof is, if that's the total cost, or is there a match that you've otherwise raised? Like, is this partial or?
No, that's the total cost, ma'am. That's the total cost.
Okay.
The 53.4.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deming.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for our final presentation tonight, we have Sister to Sister, and here to present is Evelyn Gay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Town Council. Pretty much going to be reading to you because I'm the worst when it comes to being off the cuff, so bear with me. So Sister to Sister is an innovative after-school program for girls in grades 4 to 12 who are mentored by professional women promoting positive self-esteem, social and life skills, and empowerment. Since our beginning 25 years ago, Sister to Sister has served more than 700 young women at the high, middle, and elementary school levels, inspiring them with the highest ideals of character, conduct, and educational achievement, that they may become productive, resourceful, and empowered leaders of their communities. Sister to Sister had a very successful event-filled past year. Here's a list of our many activities that were designed to increase cultural pride and awareness, level the playing field, and increase educational aspirations. We took a college tour to Montclair State University and Rutgers University and provided lunch. And with Brother to Brother, we took a college tour of the College of New Jersey, providing lunch. We went to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, providing lunch and dinner. And this included the elementary and middle schools as well as Brother to Brother. Dinner and a movie. With Brother to Brother, we showed the Emmett Till life story. And we provided tutoring for Sister to Sister members who were in danger of failing a class. And this program was so popular that our membership went up by 50%. And we're anticipating that the same is going to happen next year, because so many of our girls are far behind because of COVID, as has been explained previously. And when they learned that Sister to Sister is providing free tutoring, we charge for nothing, none of our programs. It just made us that much more popular. We also provided SAT prep for rising seniors, another very popular program. So we're probably going to have to do that for about 20 girls this year. We also coach seniors on their college applications. We took the littler Sister to Sister members to see The Little Mermaid. 44 tickets and snacks were provided. We've had health and wellness speakers and programs, and we have partnered with the NAACP on various programs. Sister to Sister members were also encouraged to give back by volunteering to make many community activities a success, such as our chocolate fundraiser. The girls sold boxes of 60 chocolate bars to raise money to buy gifts for other girls who were in foster care. And we bought those girls, those 15 girls, Michael Kors purses, and we bought each of them a initial necklace. We're in the process of selling that chocolate right now until December 14th. Let me know if you want further information.
I want 2 bars or whatever they are.
Okay, we've got a bunch out in the back, and I'll be right back. Okay, we also had a pop-up grocery shop for seniors in Newark. We helped out with the Nishawane School Dance for 2nd and 3rd graders and Kwanzaa festivities at Nishawane School. We also participated in the Montclair Race Amity Day Festival and Circle of Sparks Playback Project. Sister to Sisters past year has been so successful that it has generated positive feedback among our target population of female students in the Montclair Public Schools. As such, we will provide 3 months of SAT prep for, it says 15 juniors here, we already have 20 signed up. And due to popular demand, we will also be starting a Sister to Sister chapter of Girls Who Code this January. So it's for the increased SAT prep and the new chapter of Girls Who Code that we're seeking funding. We have never received any money from the CDBG funds, so we're hoping to get a more favorable response this year. So Sister to Sister serves the young women of Montclair who are most likely to qualify for free or reduced rate lunch and will be the first in their family to attend college. Given this, Sister to Sister is proud to say that 98% of our girls graduate from Montclair High School and go on to college.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Seeing none, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
work. Thank you.
I'll be bringing the chocolate in.
So just in summary, I'm just going to summarize the township projects for this fund, because approximately half goes to our service agencies and approximately half is for township projects. One of our projects is to continue to make improvements to Cornerstone House. That's owned by the township. It's operated as a shelter. As you know, we've put money in. We put a new roof in, that was funded last year. We right now are preparing the bid specs for our new roof. We submitted a grant to put in a new heating and cooling system. Haven't heard back on that yet. So the next round is to fix the exterior of the building. There's no insulation, and the floor is underneath the kitchen. The wood elements, the exterior wood elements, are in very poor shape, so there needs to be repairs to the exterior, stripping and painting of the exterior. The stairs need work, and there is no ADA accessibility. So we're looking for $50,000 towards those other improvements to that very old, beautiful building that's right next to the municipal building.
I'm sorry, Janice. So before you move on, so would this address the ADA thing, or that's not what this?
I didn't include it in the description, but it's something that needs, it's on our list of things. We have a long list of improvements to that building. I'd like to include that in it and see if we could include that in the quote.
Okay, within the amount that you set
Yes,
aside.
yes. Other project is 14 Miller Street. We're in the process of acquiring the property. And again, there's a lot of improvements that are needed to that building. I'm only looking for funding to improve, new heating and cooling system for those dwelling units. I know they have relatively new hot water heaters, but again, there is no cooling system. They have air conditioners, so we're going to look to make improvements to those. We anticipate getting additional funding. We're working, identifying partners to work with us to manage and perhaps acquire that building. But in the meantime, once the existing tenants leave, we want to be able in a position to start making some improvements to that building. And CDBG is one of the funding sources that we want to use. And the final project we have on here is for the Montclair Public Library. As you know, this year we've just completed improvements to the bathrooms at the library. The third floor and the first floor are now completely ADA accessible. But we didn't have enough funds last time to do the second floor bathrooms, but we have the bid specs all ready to go. So we've included $30,000 to redo the bathrooms on the second floor of the library to make them ADA accessible. So again, we have a lot of projects. We have got more projects than we have money for. So that's why it's important for you to prioritize. So that's one of the considerations when we meet with the county and we go through all of the project descriptions and how the various organizations have worked with the county and responded to issues, and all of that factors into the ultimate allocation of funds. Okay?
Thanks.
One second, Janice.
Did you
One
say
second,
14
Council.
Miller Street?
Yes.
Okay. And what type of location is that? What type of building is that?
It's a 3-family house. Okay? That the plan, I apologize, the plan, that house is being sold to the township by Home Corps. We intend to make it into deed-restricted affordable housing. So,
Janice, one question for me. On the library, my students visited the main library and saw the third and first floor. What about the branch library? Bellevue, when they went into, had this terrific problem in the water damage all over the walls. And, you know, it's been there a couple of years, but is that something CDBG money could be dedicated to? Does the library have its own funds
no,
to do that?
for the libraries, it has to be to improve accessibility.
Oh, accessibility.
So I know I've been in conversations with them about an elevator, but when they told me the cost would be $1 million, I said,
No,
that's
that's
more
too
than we have in the fund.
But the water damage wouldn't qualify?
It wouldn't
for this.
qualify.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Schlegel?
I just want to say, my family and I have lived here for 32 years. And in all the many years I've been on the council, and we go through this evening's review of all these amazing programs from these organizations. I'm just sitting here tonight, I don't know, maybe I'm feeling sentimental, but I'm amazed after 32 years to see the same faces here, year after year, of these dedicated volunteers in our town. I see Evelyn Gay and Joe Davis and Mr. Deming and Mr. White and Reverend Dunn, Cynthia Katay and Marcia Marley. I see Dottie Bennett here, who didn't speak, and Kirsten Wald. I'm just so touched by all these people. For so many years I've known you. Our kids went to school together, and that you're still here doing this important work. And I just have to applaud all of you. Really, it's amazing.
All right, those thank you to all the grant applicants. Appreciate you coming in. That will conclude that part of the meeting, so we appreciate that. And certainly, Janice, you'll be working on that with the county, and then, of course, the information will be shared out once it's available. So thank you all very much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Which one? Who was Joe? Yeah. Joe has like one of those voices you're just like. Oh, yeah. Like you should be narrating some sort of music situation. Alrighty then.
All right. Excellent. We thank them again. We appreciate that. Next, we're going to move to, we did the CDBG. We have a couple hearings that are open right now, so we're going to move to pending Ordinance O-23-37, which is an ordinance to amend Chapter 237 of the Code of the Township of Montclair, which is the school speed limits and the roadways. I so move. Second. It's moved and second. Without objection, I'm going to open to public hearing on this ordinance. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this pending ordinance? Seeing none, I will close it. Any other additional questions or comments?
Come on up.
Are we going to do public comment, Mayor, after this? Because
We always do
I
public
know
comment.
some folks are here for public comment.
There always are. Would you like to speak to this ordinance? Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Hawkins. I live at 15 Warfield, dad of 2 kids, and I'm one of the organizers of the Montclair Bike Bus. Just wanted to commend the council for moving forward with this plan to lowering speed limits in our town, especially around school zones, as this will go a very long way towards making our roads safer, as well as helping us at the Bike Bus feel more confident when we're out on the roads with our kids. I don't know if you saw recently, but our numbers have grown tremendously. We're around 320 or so at our peak. It's a little colder now, but so not quite there as we were a couple months ago. But it's clear that there's a lot of demand for biking to school, and I think that the lowering the speed limits, especially around school zones, will go a tremendous way towards encouraging more kids to come out and participate in this activity. We'd like a little clarity around how this is going to actually proceed, so maybe the council could take a moment to explain to us sort of what the next steps are, what the speed limits that you guys are recommending. Is this going to be townwide? Is this only for town roads? Is it going to include county roads as well? And what the speed limits will be around the schools in
Sure.
particular.
So I think we noted this at the last meeting as well specifically. But we are moving through a number of different ordinances that we're moving, correct? Because some things are recommendations to the county. You lumped a lot together there, right? So
Yeah.
we'll split it apart a little bit. We are moving to have all township roads 25 miles an hour. For all county roads that run through the township, recommending 25 miles an hour. That is not us just doing, right? Recommending. School speed as well, we're looking to see 15 miles per hour, right? Again, we're also looking at what other locations that might be best for. So that's the comprehensive, Mr. Leopold. Did I miss anything in that? That sounds correct. Okay. Is your microphone?
The ordinance for the townwide reduction in speed will be on at our next meeting.
Right, for the distance that we needed
Right.
from the first introduction. So that's the comprehensive list of what.
And do you have a sense of when this would go into effect if everything goes according to
Mr.
plan?
Burr, what's the time frame? You have to wait 60. What's the time frame that after?
For an ordinance to go for 20 days.
Okay.
And for a second.
If I could just add something to you, what we're doing tonight is 20 miles an hour at the locations that are county road school locations. You know, that's something we've got on here now.
Yeah.
But as the mayor said, we want to get to 15 for all of our school locations. And then there'll be 25 all throughout the town, every road, county and.
But again, not promising for the county. Because
Well, the county has to approve it.
We have to get the county to approve it, but we are recommending
We'll
it.
get that done, don't worry.
So I would just add then, just very quickly, lowered speed limits is a wonderful first step, but we also need to redesign our roads to really seal in these improvements, raised crosswalks, daylighting at intersections to make them safer for pedestrians and cyclists alike, bike lanes, especially protected bike lanes. Numerous studies have shown that these types of improvements can really help improve not only safety, but also increase foot traffic to local businesses, tax revenue. Towns prosper when they make these kinds of changes. So I'm really encouraged to see that the town's taking this step, and I would encourage you guys to go the next step beyond, which includes road redesigns and traffic calming measures to really help seal in a lot of these improvements. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Paul?
Anyone else wishing to be heard on this ordinance?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you. I hear...
Name and...
Oh, sorry. Paul Mikowitz, 7 Van Vleck.
Thank you.
Bike Walk Montclair. And I hear, again, applaud the efforts, and I hear the recommendation going to the county.
and I just want to encourage you all to not take no for an answer. I've already heard a little bit over this year about the 85th percentile and speed studies and that kind of research that needs to be done. And when it comes to lowering speeds, there's absolutely no reason to have to do any kind of study to rationalize lowering the speeds for safety. It's antiquated methodology and it's flawed. It shouldn't be applied to roadways going through towns. And I just want to give you all the encouragement to just push back on county if they say, oh, no, we did a speed study, 85th percentile, it's got to be 30 or 35, whatever it is. It's just flawed. And it's, I hope we don't run into that. So that's what I want to say. I'm just kind of getting prepped for the speed study response. Anyway, thank you very much.
We'll get you prepped for it by going to their meetings when they have them, and yes.
Paul, what you have to do is lobby them, the county commissioners, okay?
I just add to Paul. So I'm sure, the Vision Zero Task Force, again, is another venue where these things can be discussed. But if there's things that you want us to know and read, please just send along the link to something, to that point. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie Bedrin, 113 Gordonhurst. How were your pies, Mr. Spiller?
Very good, thank you.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I just wanted to follow up on what my friends and colleagues have talked about. And I'm not here as a journalist. I'm really here as a parent. Listening to what Paul said got me thinking about this, some of the obstacles that we might face with the county. But I mean, the things that are some just my personal observations. One, we're just more congested than we used to be. There are more cars on the road, and the cars are larger. And I don't know about you, but when I live, as I said, on Gordonhurst, and it is so difficult to see when I pull out onto Park, I hold my breath, I pray, I say, I look to the left, I look to the right, I look to the left, and I can't see, and I know I'm not the only person. So when we talk about like street design, I do wonder if there's something that we can be taking into consideration with regards to parking. I'm certainly not an expert, but I do think all these things play a role. And I did want to ask, when we have a specific concern, for example, I mean, at Valley, is Valley a county or city road?
County road.
Oh, okay. But, the house on Valley with the hedges, where Gordonhurst and Valley, that T, by the Acme, it's already such a dangerous intersection, and now it's getting harder again to see, to make the left. And I just wonder, are there little things that we can be doing to continually improve our site? Because
the short answer to these questions is yes. So I'll say this. Specifically, a good example, parking, right? Right now we work through township departments. Like if there are sightline issues, right, they put markers out as to where vehicles can park and distances from to kind of open that space up. That's assessed, right? That's something that can be done and happens now. Secondly, when you talk about hedges, that is an ongoing thing. I think every one of us on the council gets a report of it's a bad sightline area. We then refer that to Mr. LaPola to have the team go out and look at that and hopefully ask the homeowner to trim that back. Or in some cases, handle that and bill them. But so all of these things are a yes. That's a yes. That's the work that happens now. And I think even as the councilwoman noted, kind of broader standards and other pieces that can be put in through the Vision Zero Task Force, I think are things we can more standardize as we kind of do the work. But yes, is the answer. These things happen.
And that's something we have been doing. Just so that I'm over here. Sorry, I have a cold, so I apologize. But to the mayor's point, that's something that we've been doing ongoing with intersections. So now that you've noted that, I'll make sure, since it's in the first word, I'll follow through to make sure that the sight lines are clear.
Thank you. I mean, I have noticed the increase in the markers that you're talking about for parking purposes. I would ask one more time that if there was any way to consider making Gordonhurst and Fullerton a four-way stop. We've had so many studies, and I'm so fearful that somebody is going to lose their life. What we actually see there more than anything is drivers who think it's a four-way. It's not a four-way. They stop and they're inadvertently causing confusion. You know what I mean? And I just think, I know Sergeant Agnezzo, not sure, Lieutenant, thank you. I know that we've had studies. It's just, I don't know that it's studyable in that sense. I've lived there 13 years. It's just,
So
thank you.
just the studyable piece, I get you on that too.
Sorry for my
And I can
made-up
think of
word.
No, I totally think it's exactly, the way you framed it actually encapsulates it perfectly, because there's a number of intersections. I'm thinking of one on Gates as you're
Yeah, of
speaking, right?
course.
But the challenge around it, the study is what's required under the law, right? And the study is an assessment of any accidents that have occurred, speed assessment of the area. You know, there's a warrant study that has to happen, and my understanding of the history of it, Janice could probably speak to it better than I, but the state put in these standards that you have to hit to warrant a four-way stop. The reason they put it through is they didn't want towns putting four-way stops everywhere, but you have to look at these studies to see, does it warrant this four-way stop? So it's one of the challenges we always run into, but we do always refer those pieces to get a study. The police department works with us to see, they try to study it at the most favorable time to see what might happen, right? Not in a less traveled time or something else that would lower one of the thresholds. So it's an ongoing piece there as well, but certainly, again, pieces we can discuss.
If I might just ask one more question, are you saying that that's the state requiring of the township or the state requiring of the county? Or, well, that's not a county road, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it applies at the county level, to be honest. I'm not exactly sure,
Sure.
but I know as a local, every time we always get these four-way stop requests, that's what we engage in. We have to do through the state.
Mayor Jamie, I want to refer you to this gentleman sitting right here, my former student, I guess I'll call him. His sister works with the DOT, the Department of Transportation, presented to my students and is going to present to Division Zero a whole report on all the things that can be done to traffic calm, signage, all the rules of the state. So as the mayor's saying, it's a state rule for the county and the municipality to have these studies. But there's ways that this can be done efficiently. So if you talk to Ilmar on your way out, he'll get you some more information. I know you live at the corner near Valley on Gordonhurst, right?
I don't actually live near the corner. Well, I live walking distance to the corner.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You're close to the corner. I used to be on Bruce Road, right off there.
Sure, so you know that, yeah.
A&P, my mother lived there and went there all the time. It's the Acme now. Years ago, the county freeholder for our area, Luis Palagiano, got the speed limit reduced to 25 going across that Bel Air House and Acme crosswalk. Because it was 35, people would go 50. They'd go
Yeah.
50. Older people, one person got killed, other seniors got really scared because they couldn't cross. So we did get it done. It took quite a while. It was the county approving it. They usually will approve what we ask, and we have enough connections with the county that we can get them to approve it. But what you need to do, hopefully, and others, please, talk to Brendan Gill, our county freeholder commissioner, they call him now, and Carlos Pomares covers Montclair, Bloomfield, and the other towns. When we get them, and then Mayor Jackson is the county administrator, Essex County. He was our former mayor. They all have heard from me, Bill Herlock, the mayor, and others. We've told them all we need them to support what we ask for. So I'm confident we're going to get it. But residents like yourself can actually push them. They're elected by you. So they're also another layer of government that we've got to get through.
Yeah.
So keep in touch on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're still at Montclair State? You're still at Montclair State?
Montclair State and Seton Hall.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else wishing to be heard on this ordinance?
Ilmar Vanderer, 127 Edgemont Road. Thank you, Councilor Russo. That was a perfect introduction to my remarks. I just wanted to touch on what I spoke to you about at the last council meeting, which was my sister's report, as was mentioned, as I forwarded to Mr. LaPala per his request. And that brings to mind another issue. My sister is an engineer, and we used to have the most wonderful in-house engineer in Montclair, Ms. Kimberly Kraft, who was well known to all of us. And my father worked with her on behalf of his architectural clients on a number of projects. There are a number of intersections and roadways which I still remember to this day, her redesign, which I think hold up beautifully well, and I drive through them every day, and the measures that she took still have lasting effects to this day. There are pros and cons with everything, of course, but one of the pros of hiring someone in-house versus hiring a consulting firm is that they are directly responsible and accountable within the government structure, versus you having to go through a layer of people to get accountability and clarification and other things. In a consulting firm, there's typically also a high turnover of staff, multiple people working on multiple projects for multiple clients, and it isn't always the same level of attention to detail that is provided by somebody who is in-house. And another, deficit is, of course, that the consulting firm is not local. They're not on site. When I would typically talk to Ms. Kraft, she would literally, from memory, say, oh, yes, I know the street. I know the intersection you're talking about. I know the conditions there and everything else. You don't have to take someone from far away, bring them here, explain, bring them up to speed. And typically, an in-house engineer that's hired would have a higher level of experience under their belt anyway. So I would advocate strongly and urge the town council to demonstrate its commitment to this issue, because when we're talking about redesigning intersections and roadways, that component becomes very critical to put the resources and the commitment behind reinstating a full-time in-house engineering professional position within the township. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm seeing no one else wishing to speak to this ordinance. I'll close it. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Mr. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I just want to, in the spirit of what we've been discussing, actually, the original that came out was 20 on Elm, 25 on Grove, 25 on Valley, 25 on Valley. And of course, I expressed the concern, as did others, and I know Councilwoman Schlager, one of these is in her ward, the other two were in mine. Having seen former Mayor Jackson, who has been working with the county, and speaking to him about this, I want to thank him for working with us, to your point, Mr. Mayor, and getting these all down to 20, which is where they should be, if not lower. But I do want to say that we do work with the county. They were very receptive, and we effectuated these from 25 to 20. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, noting that we do have that great working relationship, and we'll continue to, we're sure. Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll just echo what the Deputy Mayor just noted, and pleased to see it moving in this direction. Madam Clerk, please.
Counselor Cummings absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock.
Absolutely, yes.
Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
About time, yes.
Counselor Schlager.
Yes.
Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. Next is Ordinance O-23-42, which is the ordinance. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 327, Vehicles and Traffic, in the Code of the Township of Montclair to prohibit parking on Park Street in that left-hand turn at the intersection of Park and Haddon Place during certain hours. I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded on this one. Any questions, concerns, comments as we introduce this, my colleagues? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Counselor Cummings absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock.
Absolutely, yes.
Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
About time again, yes.
Counselor Schlager.
Yes.
Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. And we do have three brief resolutions, so we'll just do these here. The Resolution R-23-243, which is a resolution authorizing the contract with Imperial Parking for our township decks. I so move. Second. Any questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Counselor Cummings absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock.
Yes.
Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
Yes.
Counselor Schlager.
Yes.
Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. Next, Resolution R-23-290, which is a resolution awarding fair and open contract for the Musial Group for architectural design, the Health Department renovations. I so move. Second. Any questions, concerns, comments? Madam Clerk.
Counselor Cummings absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock.
Yes.
Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
Yes.
Counselor Schlager.
Yes.
Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. And next, Resolution R-23-291, Councilwoman Schlager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Whereas invoices against the Township of Montclair in favor of the following persons for the amounts set opposite their respective names have been received, duly audited, and found correct. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair, the County of Essex, that said invoices be, and they are hereby ordered paid, and that checks be drawn by the Finance Department to the order of such persons for the amounts respectively and hereinafter stated on the computer printout attached hereto and made a part hereof. This bill list is dated December 5th, 2023, the amount of $20,486,330.54, and I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, or comments?
Mayor, I just had a couple of things that I want to ask, but I don't want to bog us down. I'll take these up with the manager at some point. For example, we spent some money on turkeys at the ShopRite in Brookdale, $750. I just want to know where they all went. And there's a lot of little things here that we've been spending money outside the town, and a lot of these charges, I'm sure they go to Philadelphia or other states, but they're locally purchased. So when we get something at Staples, just to clarify this for me, there's a lot of thousands of dollars spent at Staples. We go to the local Staples.
Right,
but the
unless it's
bill comes
online,
from-
then however they bill us, they
But the
bill
bill
us.
comes from out of state, so we're
Right.
not really spending money out of state, we're
Mhm.
just getting billed from out of state. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Price Abrams?
Thanks, Mayor. Mr. Lepola, I know it's on page 17, it's the Shoreline Energy Advisors, and it's for the microgrid Phase 2. So I think I know that relates to this whole emergency backup.
Yes.
Would you mind just maybe, just briefly, where we are in that project? And I'm glad to see that, you know, it's
Well, we're
still
basically
developing.
trying to get the BPU to approve our plan in terms of the microgrid, where we received the grant, but then their own regulations prevent us from accomplishing what we were given the money to do. This is our consultant that we're working with, trying to accomplish that.
I see.
Because there's certain regulations about when you pass over other types of power, that you can't do it that way. So we're trying to reach a solution on how to get that done. That's an ongoing effort with the BPU.
Okay, I'll follow up with you for more detail on that another time, too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings absent. Deputy Mayor Hurlock.
Yes.
Counselor Price Abrams.
Yes.
Counselor Russo.
Yes.
Counselor Schlager.
Yes.
Counselor Terry.
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. All right, thank you very much, everybody. Next, we're going to go to public comment. All speakers should complete the sign-in sheet next to the podium before addressing the council. For council comments, we'll have 2 minutes for public comment. Before speaking, please state your name and your address. If you wish to comment on anything else, please, this is the time. Please come on up, and 2 minutes, and state your name and address. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Terry Sullivan. I live at 10 Crestmont Road. I'm here tonight representing Aging in Montclair, known as AIM. It's a organization.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
If I could just ask, shh, just because we're trying to make sure we hear everybody, and thank you.
Thank you.
Want to make sure you can be heard. Please, go ahead.
Our organization represents, we have over 600 members in our organization. We provide programs for senior citizens and advocate on behalf of senior citizens. We'd like to thank the council for some, progressions that we've made this year with the hiring of filling the vacant position of Senior Services Director, hiring a social worker. We're pleased that that happened. But tonight I want to talk about the elephant in the room, a senior center, something that we have been waiting for years. And for the past 10 years, AIM and other organizations have been advocating for a senior center. One of your first official acts when this council was formed was to reject the proposal for leasing the Mills building for a senior center. Since then, there has been nothing happening as far as the senior center. Many other towns here in Essex County, all around, have very vibrant senior centers. And our members are frustrated. We've been waiting so long for this. And we are presenting a proposal to you tonight to, rather than waiting even further, to start getting the ball rolling, to set up a committee consisting of council members and senior representatives to investigate a senior center, to come up with ideas on funding a senior center. We've added timelines to our proposal. And we use strong language in the proposal, words like demand, but that is just an expression of our frustration about this.
Thank you. That is your time, but thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That went fast.
Mayor, I wonder if we might, everyone's queued up.
That it would take more than one of us.
Oh, you're going to finish. I just wanted to say, if people wanted to sign and then they don't have to stand on the line, like you could sign and sit, seems to me, and come up when it's your turn.
I'd like.
Just
Yes.
thought.
Got it.
Anyway, Carrie.
Okay. I have been asked on behalf of the Board of Directors of AIM to read you an urgent proposal, which I think Terry will be passing around to all of you. On March 28, 2017, the Town Council, not you guys, passed a resolution, R-17090, to affirm its commitment to the establishment of a comprehensive senior center, a vibrant town center where seniors could age in place. It has become obvious that this was an empty political gesture, no more. We are well over 600 older residents who have joined together and worked in different ways for over 10 years, advocating for a senior center. We are disappointed and angry. The failure of this council to take any meaningful action to make budget equity real and not just a talking point is a notable failure of many elected and appointed individuals and the town government as an institution. Aging in Montclair proposes and demands the following of Montclair's current town council. By January 15, 2024, the council will appoint a senior center committee. This group is to convene no later than February 2024. Timely action on the designation of representatives to serve on the senior center committee is of utmost importance in order to adhere to the AIM expected timeline. How am I getting? The Senior Center Committee will be composed of at least 2 council members and 3 or more representatives of the senior community in Montclair. The initial mission of this appointed group will include identifying a suitable property for a senior community center. This group will undertake and begin plans for the center's development, including funding, design, monitoring. Okay, you want to take over? Okay.
No,
Carolyn's giving
well,
me
it
some
doesn't quite work that way, but if you
Okay.
can come on up, please.
It doesn't
Come-
work that way?
Yeah, because everybody would do, but if you can come on up and you can finish for sure.
Okay.
Make an exception for these, the senior citizens, the people have
Bob,
worked through us for
we
years.
try to make sure it's the same for everybody. So
Yeah,
that
the
we
same
don't
for
have-
everybody, but seniors are special, okay? Give the seniors a little more time, okay?
Thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate it. Where was I? Development, including funding, design, monitoring bids for contracts, and building approvals and plans. In May 2024, the Senior Center Committee will submit a draft plan for the building of the Montclair Senior Center to the full council and to the public. We expect that the final Senior Center plans to be on the agenda for adoption by the full council not later than July 15th, 2024. We want a senior center in our lifetimes. Senior residents are well over 25% of Montclair's population, and they vote. A senior center is much more than a place to play games and have lunch. It will be the heart of our town, bringing all groups together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Carolyn Lack. I've been a resident in Montclair for 67 years. In my early years, I was interested in the education of my children and in the government of Montclair. In recent years, as one of the founding members of AIM, I've been active in trying to meet the needs of Montclair citizens. In past years, I have seen proposals for 2 senior centers denied. It is shameful that Montclair does not have a senior center like other municipalities have. Council members always seem to say they support senior issues and services. Recently, you have responded to our wishes and have hired a director of senior services, a social worker, and support for Michelle DeWitt, and we do appreciate that. However, you have taken no steps to establish a full-service senior center, and we struggle to find places for the many activities that Aging in Montclair provides. It's obvious that you need help. So I urge you to form a committee as just proposed to get this project underway. It is long overdue.
Thank you.
Just want to respond for a second, if I may. You're not on the senior issue, are you? Okay. So Carolyn,
Nobody will someday.
yeah. Just want to respond, particularly to Carolyn, because I know you've been here for many, many years. I've been pushing for this for 20 years, and you should know that Roger Terry, who sits to my right as my colleague at large, tried to get the town council back in 2009, I think it was, but correct me if I'm wrong, Roger, to buy a building, right, Roger? Roger really tried. I think he got 3 votes on the council. It was a bad time economically, somehow, our budget issues. I was not on the council at that time. When you referred before, Terry, to not us, but there is us, because Councilor Schlager, myself, Councilor and Deputy Mayor Herlock, and Mayor Spiller were here in 2017. So we did do something with a sincere interest in getting it done. Now, I do remember that as soon as we were re-elected, some of us, there was a proposal to buy, or to rent a facility at 60 South Fullerton. I do remember that I asked the council to please go ahead with whatever was done, but there were reasons, and some good reasons, that the rent might have been too high, whatever. My concern is that we don't stop exploring that and exploring other issues, but we have not done, as you say, we have not for 3.5 years done what you would like. But I want you to know that Roger Terry's here now, I'm still here, and we're going to get this done. And Roger serves on the Services Committee with myself and Councilor Price Abrams. We could be a core of whatever you're asking for. The 3 of us could be if the council's okay with that, we could be the 3 council members, because you can't have more than 3. So that's the council presence that will fight for this. I'm hopeful. And I'm just asking my colleagues again, I'm almost crying because my mother died 3 years ago at 101, lived in the Bel Air house. There was never a senior center here in this town. I go to Neptune down at Ocean Grove all the time in the summer. Neptune has a fully operating, beautiful, it's half our population, beautiful senior center with a director, a staff, rooms, activities, all on Route 33. If anybody ever goes down that way near the hospital center there's a big hospital. It's a terrific senior center. They bought that from the county. Now, we have our county facility, we have our Edgemont Park, we do have, places that we have activities, but I agree with you, a central senior center, which Roger tried to get us to do, was off Walnut and Greenwood, right, Roger? So I'm just hopeful we're going to get to do what you're asking, and I appreciate you coming. I don't like to get criticized when I tried to do something, but I understand your frustration. It's mine as well. Thank you.
And I would just say this, I think it's important, in addition to being hopeful, is the actions. And one of the things that we took was to acquire the property next door as a definitive step. That was a significant investment, and the reason for doing that is to give a footprint for the future, to be able to build on that location and this one, to provide, again, the space that we hear from you, yes, for senior center, but for community centers that we hear the request for and other pieces. That first step, I'll note, was a significant financial investment, right? I think it's, the committee work is so important, but without the $1 million property that you purchased next door, it just doesn't happen, right? So we are, I think, taking the actions. Yes, you noted some of the positions, and I thank you for it, that we filled along the way. But I think a huge step towards it is the the actual dollars that, are going to take over a number of years to be able to put $1 million into buying a property, the millions into building a facility, those steps along the way are important to put in financially. And I'm very happy that we've been able to take those steps and not just talk about it, but invest millions, right, million plus into a property to make sure we're moving along that direction.
But there is money available, and one of the things that this committee could do is look into what are the sources of money.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree with you. Any place we can get more dollars, we can speed up the process, no question.
It's not, the next thing that happened was that, the schools started falling apart. Our grandkids go to those schools. We don't want them to be in dangerous places. So you have
So, well, thank you. Yeah, we've got
to fix the schools.
the school stuff there. That is-
But don't
Yes, sir.
forget us.
Go ahead. Not at all. Well, we're investing and
You're
moving.
not gonna be here that long.
Each year, we get older.
Yeah, we all hope we do. Us too. So we're hoping, right? Yes.
Next week, yeah, 95.
Oh, excellent!
God bless you. God bless you.
Hey, happy birthday!
Carolyn's like,
I like
you.
it. I like it.
Thank you. See you at home, Terry.
Good evening, Council. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your time. My name is Ankur Jetli. I am a board member of Mesh Montclair, located on 619 Bloomfield Avenue. I'm just here to, one, say thank you for the support you've given so far, and just ask for your continued support. We currently have a respite set up at St. Mark's Methodist Church, where we have 20 people, usually when the weather is under 32 degrees. We're housing them, keeping out of the cold for a warming center as well. And at 619 Bloomfield Avenue, where the restaurant called The Office once was, we're serving anywhere from 50 to 60 meals 6 days a week. And we just need your continued support to make sure we can keep things going, because obviously in terms of staffing and providing food when needed, when we don't always have donors for those kind of things, the majority of our work is done by volunteers. But we do have a few people on staff which are on payroll, just to make sure we have that consistency for our guests as well. So just wanted to thank you, one, and just ask for your continued support. I believe there was already a request that was made by our president for that, so I just wanted to come out and just say that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to tell you, you're with the Mesh Board? Yes. Yeah, because Councilor Cummings is not here right now. He told the folks who were here that night to please get us some specifics. Yes. So make sure they follow up with him so we can get you what you need, okay? All right, good. Thank you.
And I will add, I believe the bill payment for the 17.5, like that's part of the commitment we've made previously, actually was on tonight's bill list, I believe, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you each for your service. I'll try to meet the time allotted. It's brief. My name is David Folkenflick, and I speak tonight to urge Montclair's leaders to fulfill its promise. My mother, Vivian Folkenflick, was brilliant, funny, and loving. A few days before Halloween, she was killed by a pickup truck, an enormous one, whose driver accelerated into her. She was walking in a pedestrian crosswalk in Upper Montclair with the light a bit past noon on a perfect fall day. She did not stand a chance. 5 times before her death, I had called or emailed to express mounting concerns about the collisions at that intersection and the reckless driving at the neighboring one where my kids get picked up for school. No fatalities merely by the grace of God or luck of the draw. Over the years, we have ensured that motorists can get through town smoothly instead of making sure everyone can go about their lives safely, on foot, on bikes, buses, cars, whatever. Ultimately, that values cars over people. I do want to thank Police Chief Conforti and Deputy Chief Young for their thoughtfulness and responsiveness about my concerns in the time since, but I am hurting and I am angry, and my concerns transcend my own immediate area. They echo throughout Montclair. I applaud tonight's vote to lower some speed limits, and that's promising. But this has to be about more than setting and enforcing tighter laws. This requires rethinking how we set priorities. A lot of places have done a lot better with fewer resources than we command here. I have great hopes for the Vision Zero task force, great hopes. And yet we cannot wait for them to reach consensus before anything ambitious is done. We need to seek out, for example, demonstration projects to show benefits can outweigh inconveniences. and there's a lot of funds for infrastructure improvements out there. The township must seek those grants now from county, state, federal sources before it goes away. There's a lot also that can be done, I want to stress, with innovative design that shouldn't cost much. Since Mom's death, a lot of people have approached me independently to share their own experiences and their own outrage. Entrepreneurs, realtors, and attorneys, senior citizens and parents of young kids, clergy and activists, bicyclists and librarians. A few more moments, please, sir. Teachers and law enforcement officers, they want Montclair, too, to fulfill its promise about this sense of community, about valuing the people who live here. Shortly after we first moved to town, before our fences arrived, our young puppy bounded past me and was killed on these same streets. That was hard. 28 years ago, on the other side of this country, my 28-year-old sister was killed by a drunk driver, an impossible blow, especially to my mother. I now have 3 daughters of my own. I have no lives left to give, none. If we take no initiative until the task force work is complete, what do you say to those who are hurt or worse in the meantime? Who here will take ownership of the safety of the citizens you serve right now? Who here will commit to making those steps? And who here will commit to ensuring that the vision of Vision Zero becomes reality? Because if no one does, it will not happen. Thank you. I want to say that's not a rhetorical question. I want to offer you this as a forum in which to commit to that.
Thank you, and we certainly, as we listen to that, understand your loss, and so sorry to hear all of that, and certainly your commitment. We are all committed to the work of Vision Zero. That's why this group voted to do it.
And what about taking, that could be 18 months, 36 months. What about in the time between, sir?
Well, again, hold on. We have other people to speak,
No, I
but
understand.
we are going to be committed to the work of Vision Zero. You're seeing we're taking actions tonight, and as things pop up, we'll address them. But thank you.
Let me just say this, though. I know what you're saying, okay? And we have not put the funding in place to make the Vision Zero project work. I keep asking the manager, where is the funding for this program to work? It's just a committee right now. It's had a meeting or two. What is the funding source for this Vision Zero? I've had many people send me requests asking me what's going on. I just want to know, manager, what's the status
Are you
of the
talking about the
funding?
funding of the
Vision
task
Zero
force?
staffing, funding.
We provide some of our people to provide, to do work for the committee. This first phase is funded. The rest will be funded in the next budget. So there is no wanting for funding for the operation of the task force at the moment, Counselor.
But now, isn't the bid giving us some money towards this?
Yes, for the first phase, and then we will pick up the cost for phase 2.
Okay, so this gentleman's asking, when is the phase going to come that really gets something
No,
done?
that's not what he's asking, I
No.
don't believe. He's asking what we're doing. He's asking what we're doing. I
Yeah,
think the funding is
what we're doing
there.
is passing a lot of ordinances and resolutions, but is the committee getting the funding it needs to have staff promote these things and get them done? And is there funding being shifted in the police budget into traffic and safety, which has very, very little funding for that section of the police department to do the work on the streets, to do the enforcement? None of this means anything unless we can enforce. Now, I'm just going to tell you this because 2 of my students on Friday met a police officer on the street who was not enforcing the law on the Watchung Center Circle, where everybody gets into almost killed accidents. They witnessed in 5 minutes' time, 2 students from Montclair State witnessed in 5 minutes' time that there were 6 cars that made left turns illegally at Watchung Plaza when the sign says right turn only. Now, we need to put no left turn signs there, very clear. My students are making recommendations for this. I'll pass it on to you. But I don't like bureaucracy that doesn't get things done. That's one of the things I've always fought against. So what I'm saying is, I hear this, gentleman, and I don't hear the answers I want to hear from our government, which has the money and the resources to do things. Put more money into traffic and safety, street work in the police department. That's what I want to see. Then when are we going to get to that budget shift?
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, but I'm not going to have you take everyone's time, but I will say this. I think that is why it's important to have the Vision Zero Task Force do its work. When I hear comments like that, we are not going to enforce our way out of this problem.
I agree with you, sir.
I know you do, right? We are going to have to redesign. We are going to have to look at infrastructure. We are going to change. When you one off, as you're hearing, I think it leads us in a direction where you just go in whatever direction you think your piece is. It is important we hear from the experts. It is important we have conversations around long-term infrastructure as well as shorter-term and medium-term things we can do, but it has got to be led through conversations with experts and all involved.
And I'm imploring you, all the above, including your dependent clause in the short term and medium term. Demonstrate, show it can be done.
Yeah, agreed.
Can I-
Agree with you. Thanks.
Can I just, sir, if I could just, first of all, I'm so sorry for your loss, but I just wanted you to know that I had a meeting today with the chief, the deputy chief, the lieutenant, and the engineering department, and the conversation was about the particular intersection in which this tragedy occurred. They took a look at the infrastructure of that light because we wanted to see if we could add things there to warn people about how much time they had. Turns out that the entire structure was built incorrectly. It's antiquated, it can't be upgraded, so it would have to be replaced. The cost of that could be upwards of $500,000, but I can assure you it will be in the next capital budget. So it may be just a small step, but to make sure that that intersection ultimately will be safer for the people who cross there.
And David, I just want to, your voice is familiar to my ear. You know, many of us know your voice, and I just wanted to say thank you for bringing your voice to this room. You shared very painful truths, and we're all deeply sorry, and thank you for, we don't need more motivation. I think we're motivated, but nonetheless, people are welcome to come and say their piece, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Reggie Jenkins, 105 Chestnut. I don't want to say flippant. It's hard to follow the gravitas of what we have just heard, and I want to thank the gentleman for sincerely the traffic issues that he brought, because I've seen those too, and we can't argue with safer streets. What I came up here for this evening is, as you've heard me speak before, in support of the Clary Anderson rink. I won't go on about it in detail because you've heard me speak before. We will be here again to go over that. I just wanted to let, on behalf of myself and our gathering, to let you know that we are here. We want to thank the council for the work that has been done so far. We know that the RFP went out to allow for at least a study to occur. So those steps are occurring. It's moving forward. What we want to do is first say thank you for that, for getting that process going, but then to also remind you that, again, we are here. You're not doing it by yourselves. There is a partnership out here that's willing to pitch in and help and lend our expertise, lend our voices, lend our efforts, lend our votes. But all we ask for is, now that this step has been taken, that we keep taking the steps and that we don't lose the momentum. And I know it's probably still in the deliberative stage, but when it can be released and when we can be informed when that next concrete step is, please let us know so that we can participate as necessary. But again, thank you very much for your efforts and your help. And we're here, and it's going to be better for us. It's going to be better for our kids and the community in large. Thank you very much.
Agreed. Thank you.
Hi, Darren Siddons, 75 Montclair Avenue. I'm going to share my time with somebody that's providing service here. He is a program, Ken Ilian runs the Wolves hockey program. It serves a lot of kids in Montclair, a lot of kids in Essex County. My son plays there. Scott's son plays there. I just want him to explain sort of what he provides the community, if you don't mind.
Thank you, and thank you, council, for hearing this.
I just wanted to let you know that I run the Jersey Wolves Hockey Club out of Clary Anderson Arena as our home. We've been in existence for 15 years. Every year, we probably have between 150 and 200 families involved with the club. I'm also involved with running the Learn to Skate. So my club has kids age 6 through 18. We also have Learn to Play, Learn to Skate, and a rookie series, which is probably over the course of the year when the ice is there, upward of probably 100 kids, I would say, in and out of the program. But plus, as you guys are aware, the 2 high schools, of course, utilize the rink as well. I grew up in Bricktown, New Jersey, which has an ice rink. I've seen what an ice rink does for a town, the lessons that it teaches the youth in the community, the traffic and the exposure it brings to the community and the community businesses. It's a tremendous source of pride, and it could be really a heartbeat of a community. And like I said, I've been doing it there for a long time, and have a pretty big Montclair following there as well. Thank you. I appreciate the support and appreciate everybody listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Just want to say good evening to the council. Welcome back, Mayor. And before I start, I'd like to ask you, sir, are you going to honor me by letting me have the 2 minutes that you promised me before you left? That's number one.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but okay, you've got 2 minutes.
Oh, add it to,
Please begin. You've got 2 minutes.
no, add it to the 3 that I get, right?
No.
Well, you don't keep your promises, Mayor? I asked the deputy mayor when you were here, when you left, would he give me the 2 minutes? You were supposed to add 2 minutes to the 3 that was taken from me.
Just so that we're all clear, I never promised you 2 minutes
Well,
for the mayor. But please, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Well, Mayor, we know how you are about keeping your word, okay? But anyway, you know, if I ever promise you something, my word is bond. You got it. But thank you for just considering it, Mayor. And I do hope that you enjoyed your vacation.
I'm not sure
Okay?
what you're talking about.
Now,
Go
what I
ahead.
was talking about, there are a lot of problems. I mean, I've been around, I've been doing some observing since you were on vacation. I was taking account of a lot of things. And for one thing, when you talk about the traffic, it's amazing. People are driving a lot faster. And Montclair in general, on not just one street, on a lot of different streets. I mean, I was surprised, you know? And that's a problem that it's going to take a long time to solve. It wasn't a problem that just developed overnight. So I'm glad that you're taking your stays and everything and doing what you have to do to try to solve it, but you do have a problem.
Hold on one second. Can we ask that door is shut in the back, or what that is?
And I'm going to keep it short. And I thank you for indulging with me, whether you kept your promise or not. And to let these gentlemen know about what they need, that help is on the way, that I'm on the way, and I'll get here 2024, and I got your back. You and the gentleman here that, you know. So since you didn't give it to me, Mayor, I'm going to take 1 minute. Yes. You want to give me 2? I'm going to take 1. Thank you. Anyway, like I say, I'm on the way. My name again is Reverend Dennis L. Washington, and for the members that are really about change and want change fast, whether it be seniors, whatever it be, I got their back. And I will be sitting back there next year. I'll guarantee it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay? And I won't only sit on my laurels. I will do something. That's right. And if I can't do anything, I'll get up and leave. No one have to put me out or vote me out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Corsetto. I live at 95 Upper Mountain Avenue.
As I mentioned last month when I spoke, my partner and I have been lobbying to adjust the speed limits and safety on Upper Mountain and throughout Montclair for a year. First, I want to applaud the council on their actions today and their actions 2 weeks ago, and hopefully the actions in 2 weeks to limit the speed limits on town roads. So thank you. For those who care, a brief update on our dog, who's now had 2 surgeries, 15 days in the hospital, 2 titanium rods in his right leg, but he is finally back home. So we are thankful for that. I want to talk a little bit more, and thank you, Councilman Russo, because I think a lot of us in this town are really frustrated by the bureaucracy. And I understand the purpose of the Vision Zero task force, but there are things that are just obvious that can be done. The purpose of traffic calming is obvious. That's to make people pay more attention when they're driving so that they don't hit dogs or senior citizens or a child or bicyclists. I really think that it's very important that the town not wait for the Vision Zero task force and instead use this budget cycle to start taking actions to change the engineering of our roads. Some of us notice, for example, that Highland Avenue has a big project being done. It's an idiotic project. You're narrowing the road and you're putting in Belgian blocks. People were working on a weekend. That makes no sense. What an irresponsible use of our funds, our taxpayer funds. You should stop any traffic engineering projects until you do things that are going to save the lives and make our lives better in this town. That's something that I think, again, stop the bureaucracy and start making changes. Shifting gears with one last thing, I think some of you were at the New Jersey Bike Walk thing last night. I'm going to make a quick plug for traffic enforcement cameras. Deb Kagan and I are working at the state level to try to get, hopefully, at least a pilot program done. And I hope that the city council here will choose to potentially have Montclair be the pilot program for traffic enforcement cameras in this state. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Douglas Reich, 12 Victoria Terrace. My daughter's here with me. She's a founding Bike Bus member along with myself. I came here a couple months ago and I feel very hopeful about how much has happened in terms of the traffic and safety measures that have moved since then. Vision Zero, the speed limits. I don't think I can add anything to what the parade of other concerned citizens have said, except to ask, I don't know if this is a town council question or it's a town administration question, but I want to just know when I go and use our streets and I am unsafe with our current structure and with our current enforcement or lack thereof, what type of accountability processes are in place in this town to bring people who work for the town to address the words that are being said when a person is struck in a crosswalk, when there's a new number of collisions. I understand there's process to changing the street structure, but I want to know who here is paying attention in the township to each of those events and bringing urgency to those questions. Thank you.
So not really sure your question in the sense of, obviously any accident or something is police involvement, right? So if that's your question, I'm not exactly sure, but that's the key piece. The implementation of any structural changes and things like that are done, as you've heard before, engineering and other pieces intersect. But if your question, which I thought I heard in there, if someone is struck in a crosswalk, that absolutely is, police are the ones who, respond and make sure their concern is met there. And then, of course, beyond that, when we look at the safety of each of these pieces, that's why we've got Vision Zero and so many other things looking at what we can do infrastructure-wise and otherwise.
Yeah, I was using structural more in the sense of organizational structure rather than physical structure, as in who's creating urgency inside of the town government and pushing the police to enforce rules, pushing our township to follow the rules in the books in terms of building the physical environment that keeps us safe.
Let me just respond again. I've been doing this for 24 years. The time I was mayor 20 years ago, I got a lot of things done. I really did. But that's 20 years ago. Now, I'm going to stick around here till we get something done. I'm telling you that right now. I'm going to stick around 6 months from now. I'm going to tell the manager right now, you're a nice guy, Michael, but you don't know Montclair. You just came here 6 months ago. You're being paid like a $10,000 a month fee. Then your consulting firm's getting another $5,000 for consulting on what I don't know. The point is, you have to get these things done for these people. You have to understand this form of government. Weak mayor, really the council's weak too, but we do hire the manager, we do hire the town attorney, we do hire the clerk. That's about it. We can't even talk to the police. I was reprimanded when I was mayor for talking to the police chief about stationing one cop at one end of Church Street and one cop at the other end because the two of them had to be together to keep themselves safe. And I said, my God, they don't patrol double to keep themselves safe. They need to be spread out so that the people who had stores that were being robbed on Church Street, this is 20 years ago, could be protected. I'm outraged when that. Somebody just sent me something saying, why did I mention that the police weren't enforcing? My students saw this happening. They reported it to me. And I'm talking, I'm not afraid of this. Lock me up. You know, the point is that the police have to enforce these rules. So we got all these new signs at Watchung Plaza. Councilman Herlock and Schlager worked on it for quite a while with Councilman Jacobellis. I, acknowledge that. I've been working on it for 50 years. So they tried to put lights in Watchung Plaza 50 years ago, and it didn't succeed. The thing is, if we've got signs up that say no right turn, we should add signs that say, they say right turn only. We should add signs that say no left turn, blinking lights around the signs. These are all things recommended by my students at Montclair State in a class called Government Problem Solving. Let's solve the problems, Michael. Let's get these signs up. Let's do this enforcement, because if the police were there that day and my students saw them, they're disillusioned as students in political science and government at Montclair State. They said, gee, the police officer said to them that there's not even enough staffing to enforce. Now, that's not the answer, see? Not enough staffing. Let's deploy the staffing. Let's not have a lot of people in the administrative end of government rather than on the streets doing the job. What I don't like is administrative spending and not grassroots worker spending. I want cops on the beat. I want enforcement. I want teachers in the classroom, not a bunch of principals and administrators and superintendents making high salaries. Let's get the money where it needs to go, in traffic and safety in the police department. I know you had a meeting with the police on the budget. I was not informed of it. I wasn't able to be there. I'm not going to talk to the police chief. Somebody said to me I should tell the police chief what happened. No, because I'm not supposed to talk. I was reprimanded 20 years ago. So people, please understand the history that I know. The history is that this government doesn't work this way, you see? You come to us at these meetings, you want us to do something. We did what we could. We passed the ordinance. Now it has to be enforced. And you're the one, manager, that deals with the police and the allocation of resources and getting them out on the streets. They cannot be out on the streets not enforcing these laws. Watchung Plaza is a death trap. It's a death trap. People are all over the place ready to hit each other every day. I saw it. My students saw it. People who are merchants there were crying out to my students and I the other day that at the coffee shop and at the green place, they said, look, right from the window, we see 8 cars making the illegal left turn, and there's no enforcement. Sorry, that's what I had to tell you.
You'd like to say there was
Well, first, I'd like to correct the record, Counselor. First of all, I am paid by the town. I have never been part of that consulting firm. I have never worked for them. I've never done a project for them. I don't get any of the money that they get. And I've explained this to you several times before. Secondly, the police are doing their job. They do their enforcement. We no longer, over the past few months, give deference to residents to say, cut me a break. I was going 5 miles over the speed limit and I live in town. We have plenty of disgruntled residents who call me on a daily basis to say the cops are being hard on us. And that's because we are trying to enforce the law. On the last part, if you want to talk about the ordinances to reduce speeds, you want to talk about funding for Vision Zero. That didn't happen when the person in the seat lived in the town. I may be from out of town, but I understand the issues. I have 40 years of experience at this. What's happened here, I can't be accountable or explain what happened before. I can tell you that there was a dearth of investment in these kind of improvements, and the next budget will show or will be recommended to you that you fund these improvements. But nothing happens overnight. This is not
my doing, but I am doing my absolute best, as is the police department, to improve these situations. Okay?
Well, you're here
Thank
3
you.
days a week, I understand.
So I appreciate
So
it.
you're not here all the time to deal with it.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm a truth teller, folks.
And so am I, Counselor.
Well, I hope
Thank
you enjoy your next year here, 6 months, whatever it is.
Hi, my name is Ezra, and I'm here to talk about my street. My street is like a highway, and people speed all the time. And there are a lot of kids and bus stops that are hard to get to. There should be more stop signs, crosswalks, speed limits, and speed bumps, and four-way stops. Here's an example. A few months ago, a car crash almost happened, and I was almost in it. Thank you for my time.
Thank you for sharing.
Walnut Crescent.
So what, Ezra?
What
Walnut Crescent.
Oh, okay.
Walnut Crescent, okay. Near Walnut Street, right?
Yes. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Ezra.
So I'm going to be my own time. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Melanie Robbins. My son just spoke about pedestrian safety in our neighborhood. I'm so proud of him for coming tonight and taking initiative to share the important perspective as a young kid in our neighborhood streets. To add some specifics to his concerns, we desperately need a four-way stop at the intersection of Walnut Crescent and Walnut Street. It's a confusing, unclear area that people fly through, not realizing who has the actual right-of-way. I would also suggest speed humps and even a crosswalk, or better yet, a raised crosswalk by the intersection of Walnut Crescent and Oxford, as well as potentially, or around there in Tremont and Oxford, as these intersections are on the way to our bus stop, the bus stop for Nishwain, for Hillside, which remains the same bus stop over years. And so given there are many students who regularly need to cross Oxford there, it would be helpful to have a crosswalk we can safely cross when people are flying down Oxford as a cut through from Grove to Ridgewood. Since Ezra initiated our presence here at tonight's meeting, I figured I would add a few agenda items I've wanted to discuss but cannot get here. I still cannot understand why there is not virtual comment for our town council meetings. I really can't fathom why this can't be accommodated to make our democracy genuinely more accessible to more members of our community who cannot attend in-person meetings. Can you please explain to us why we cannot allow virtual public comment? Many towns do it. I don't understand the problem. Please also clarify public comment procedures, as it seems to change or is just generally unclear. The Montclair Police Department, second agenda item. Montclair Police Department has a substantial grant that has been pending to create a hate crimes protocol and community relations program. This over $360,000 has yet to be deployed given changes in staffing and other internal issues in town management. I am imploring you to please reprioritize this initiative. Since October 7th, the rate of hate crimes, particularly targeting the Jewish community and Jews, as well as Muslims, Arabs, and Muslim and Arab communities. We are not immune to the world around us, and we have experienced anti-Semitic incidents in town. Many of our students are facing bias and bigotry in the schools. We also know that there are more than enough bias facing other minority communities in our town, such as the hostility of the neighbor at a local church using racial slurs. I'm formerly the Deputy Director of the Anti-Defamation League's New York, New Jersey office during the years of 2016 and 2019. Through 2019. During my time there, much of my work was community gathering, building relationships between interfaith communities, between communities and law enforcement, and communities and elected officials. Much of this work was premised on building coalitions against hate and bias. I know and have seen how vital this work can be. We need this work right here in Montclair, and we need it now. By prioritizing this grant, you will be able to help build bridges between our communities and town. You will enable residents to know their rights, know how and when to report bias-based incidents or crimes, and you will begin to develop an immediate response mechanism for supporting communities who are targeted. It will also help manage community tensions as people then understand what is and isn't a bias crime and will be able to better respond to crimes or incidents that do occur. I'm beseeching you to direct the town manager to prioritize this DOJ grant and give the PD support they need to get this project off the ground and running fast. Thank you.
I will get you an update on that.
I just wanted to recognize that some of us who have the opportunity to work at the Education Committee who help with the grant process and our consultants, I guess I'm not sure I can actually explain. It's been a tortured process through bureaucratic systems to get access to get something released. And so I'm going to just ask the manager just to follow up on that. Is there anything else that can be done that needs to be done that isn't ready in the works? Because I just know that there's been a lot of efforts through, I'm sorry, which of our?
Grant writer?
Yeah, no, not the grant writers, in the police. It's
Tyrone
yeah,
Williams.
Yeah, Lieutenant Williams, I'm sorry, I just couldn't think of his name. So, you know, who has been working through that with our grant consultants and with some of the personnel in the building. So thank you for bringing it up. And you're right, this couldn't be, there's always an important time for it, but we know that there's continuing and ongoing needs. So thank you, Mr. Lepola, for just seeing where we are and where we can meet.
I will get you an update,
Thank
Counselor.
you.
Good evening, Mayor Spiller and Township Council. I'm here to address two things very quickly. First, I'm a 41-year resident of the town, currently residing at my home that I own at 67 Pleasant Avenue. The home is co-owned by David Toller. I'm speaking tonight in favor of the stop sign relocation at Pleasant and Hilltop. Current stop sign, I believe, is on the northeast corner, and which is a cul-de-sac. It's like a dead-end street. So that's the sign. The people who live on that little dead end, they're the only ones that get the stop sign. The people who come on Pleasant and Hilltop from the other directions don't. So someone on our block did come and address this at the November, 21st meeting it was. And since I've been here, he said that since that meeting that he's emailed the interim manager, Michael Lepola, twice, but he hasn't heard anything back. So I'm just here to say, we would still like to see that happen on the block. The other thing I'm addressing is that at the November 21st meeting, my name was mentioned erroneously. So there was actually my name and David Toller. Like I said, we own the house together at 67 Pleasant. Damara Scott of 59 Pleasant insists that we are affiliated with a township committee, and neither of us are. So I just needed, and her assertion was that because we have some type of quote-unquote connections, that the laws and ordinances of Montclair don't apply to us, and that's just not true. Specifically noise complaints. The police, in the 6 years that I've been at my current home, the police have been there 4 or 5 times total. And they say turn it down, we do, and that's the end of it. We live happily ever after. But again, we don't we don't have any connections to the town. We have to obey the laws like everybody else, and that's all I have. So thank you for your time this evening and for your service to my town.
Thank you. Ma'am, what was your name? I don't know if you said your name.
Oh, I didn't say my name? I'm
You
sorry.
did, yeah.
Amira Toller Stout.
Yes.
Amir.
Okay.
I didn't.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lepola, I think at the last meeting too, I did mention, I think Councilman Cummings was looking at that piece, but if you can look at that intersection, I noted it. to look
I
at.
know that the police were out there, the study was done, so
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
Let me know,
on
because I
that.
talked about switching it, remember? Yep. Okay.
Hi, good evening. Sorry, my name's Elizabeth Coccaro, and I live at Nassau Road in Upper Montclair. You may remember me from a few weeks or about a month ago. I'm here to talk again about traffic safety. I'm very grateful for the efforts that you've made in the past few months to institute the Vision Zero Task Force and the speed ordinances. And from what I can tell, there seems to be some initiative within the Montclair Police Department to sort of increase enforcement. So I'm very grateful. So thank you to all of you. I feel a little awkward now stating that I just feel like it's not enough. We witnessed, too many deaths, too many injuries. We're all, feel unsafe driving, unsafe walking, unsafe biking. And so I stand here today asking, what more can we do now? The Vision Zero Task Force is an amazing thing. I'm confident there are so many smart, incredible people, and there's coordination, hopefully, among the right agencies and right parties. Yet, the people who are going to carry forward the work are not on the Vision, are not on the Vision Zero Task Force. And so we need money and we need people, staff, that are employed by the town to carry this project manage and can make sure that this cohesive plan actually has legs. And then that work needs to start now so that it can sort of get off running, not in 36 months, right? But now, before more people are killed. And, you know, Mr. Russo, Councilman Russo, I'm very grateful for all the efforts you've made. A little while ago, you were talking about, you suggested to someone that they call the county or call Brendan Gill. For 2 years now, more than that. Well, that's my time.
No, finish it up. What were you saying
Well, for 2
about it?
years, I've been trying to make changes, ask for changes on Valley Road and Mount Hebron. We have a lot of accidents there. We've had crossing guards hit, flipped cars. You know, it is a problematic area with very high speeds. Now, I have labored hard and long and called everyone I can. And still, yes, there was a traffic study done, but nothing has happened. I don't want to talk about that specific instance. I want to talk about the fact that there's no one to actually carry the ball forward in town, right? It's not my job to make sure the county does it, right? Someone in town, it should be someone in town's job. I don't work for the town, right?
Right.
So I find it, I'm sorry. It's really, you know, I'm trying to emphasize this point that we really need some people. We can come here and show up, but it needs to be someone's job to make sure these changes are made, right? And maybe we need a full-time town manager. It just sounds pretty great to me. We've got a big town with a lot of problems. So anyway, thank you for the extra time.
Let me just
Thank you.
let me just finish up, because this time thing, you know, that buzzer and all that's going to go away in 6 months. Here's the point. You're in Nassau, which is the corner near Mount Hebron and Valley, right? That corner where the church is, where those old lights are. Now, Bill Herlock, councilman from that area, has worked very hard for a while to try to get those lights improved. They have to be done by the county, and the county commissioner we're talking about, Brendan Gill, had an accident himself there. Well, my students, looking at that several times now, cannot understand how. Simply, these are not new lights now. These are old lights that are there. They don't really face the right way. They don't work right. But we've had so many near accidents and accidents. So that's right near where you live. I'm trying to get some attention to this. I know Bill has worked hard on it. The thing is that I don't understand myself as a teacher of government why the two levels of government, county and municipality, can't get those lights improved to make it safer. I
Well,
can't
there's
understand it.
someone
And
in-
Mr.
if there-
LaPola says he's been doing this for 40 years. Now, I respect that. He worked with the transportation folks. He worked with the Turnpike. Why can't we get those lights fixed on the corner of Mount Hebron and Valley Road, which we've been told for 2 years that they were going to be fixed? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Michael, but it's a corner right near the university and all, you know. A lot of accidents. There's Mount Hebron, there's a school right there, you know, on Mount Hebron Avenue. It's called Bradford School. I mean, these kids are going to get killed.
Well, God forbid. There are a lot of,
See, I don't
there are
get
over
any- I don't
60
get any
intersections
answer.
in
What
town that
happens
are
is
problematic.
you don't even get an answer. You're elected by 5,000 people, and you sit here and you ask questions, and you don't get an answer, okay? I'm not walking out anymore, okay? But I'm not staying and just keeping quiet, because I want to know why we can't fix those lights on the corner of Mount Hebron and Valley Road. They're all screwed up, those lights. Any knowledge of this? I mean, what do we need, the police in here at every meeting to talk to them about it? We don't have a town engineer, we got a consulting firm, right? Consulting firm, they're not here, the engineer. Where are the people that, like you're asking, ma'am, you're asking, who's gonna address this? I can't. I'm trying to raise the issue.
If it's no one's job, then it's not going to happen. So I'm just trying to emphasize the point
It's
that
the
more and
manager's
more
job.
budgetary dollars to this should be sanitation, electricity, public safety. It's basic. It's a basic good. Without it, what are
You're
we?
right, you're right.
So
This
thank
is a
you so much for your
manager-
time.
This is a manager-run government, strong manager system.
Can I ask a question? Who on the council are the liaisons and go to the Vision Zero meetings?
Mayor and myself.
The two of you? Okay.
But there's been one.
There's another spot.
There's been
right?
made-
And there's another spot.
There's
as we've voted the last-
there's 3 spots
Yeah.
that we could go on? Okay. And there's been one meeting? Okay.
And I guess, if I may, Robin, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
But I may not know Mr. Leopolo offhand, but there are many staff members, people who work for the town, who are actually also integrated into the Vision Zero Task Force. And Paul, you might remember the numbers.
Is your microphone on?
Sorry, I had a meeting yesterday with Laura Turcio, who's the chair of it, and the purpose of the meeting was just figuring out the logistics of how staff will be supporting the Vision Zero Task Force. We had a follow-up meeting with Lieutenant Ngezzo, if I say her name correctly, and also Norberto, who's our consulting engineer. He is an engineer. And so they will be participating in the meetings with a bunch, and our health director and a bunch of other people, but we are coordinating very closely with them. I don't think there's any distance between us in terms of what our goals are. Logistically, we're working through that, and I don't see there's any problems at the moment.
Right, thank you.
Ahava Felicidad, President and first founder of the Tenants Organization of Montclair, because there are 3 more. We are the group that brought you a rent control ordinance. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm adding to my public comment ad lib, as I've had the honor of having worked with and presented to the young men and women of Brother to Brother and Sister to Sister. Please give them all that they need. Their programs are a necessity in our township. I trained with Dottie Bennett while at Montclair High. She was my dance teacher, made me feel very comfortable as an athlete and a musician. There's no surprise that this program is growing, and all the women who work with the program are dedicated. All the young men I've ever interacted with in Brother to Brother have gone to Positive Pastures and have done great work in this community, and others that they've moved to. Counselor at Large, Mr. Roger Terry, I'm sorry I did not properly acknowledge you at the last meeting. I didn't get to say a lot of things considering the public comments previously. Welcome back to the council. My late mother used to speak very highly of you. I didn't know much about the council because at the time I was in undergrad or grad school, they overlapped, and I'll never forget how highly she spoke of you. At that time, I had no interest in politics. I was immersed in wishing to work in children's television program and media consulting. Fast forward to coming home to Montclair, New Jersey, permanently and standing up to organize for the revitalization of the rent control movement. I love being from and living in this township. I'm happy to see the ordinance passed for the speed limit for bikers and walkers. I'm hopeful that it works. Tenants Organization of Montclair will continue to offer monthly meetings, public and or virtual. The 2024 first 6-month schedule will release by the first full week of January. We welcome volunteers. Have a good night.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a point of information. Do we have to the clerk, do we have a 2-minute or a 3-minute timer on here tonight?
2.
Well, who decided it should be 2?
I said at the beginning of the meeting. Yeah.
You said it at the beginning of the meeting. Who decides this? You arbitrarily decide as mayor that it's 2 minutes? There's not that many people here. They all need at least 3 minutes, otherwise we wouldn't have to be cutting them off. This is an undemocratic system of having people be cut off with this stupid buzzer that buzzes after 2 minutes. At least give people the 3 minutes, then they could all have concluded, the seniors included. I don't understand, Mayor. I helped you get elected mayor, and you're up here acting like some kind of a czar. You decided 2 minutes at the beginning. I was sitting here from the beginning of this meeting. I never heard 2 minutes. I turned to my colleague here. She thought it was 3 minutes. Who knows what it is?
Bob, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your desire to campaign from the podium.
I'm not campaigning from the podium. I'm not running against you.
We had a
okay?
CDBG meeting at the beginning of the meeting.
Running against bad government.
We had a meeting at the beginning of the meeting, CDBG funding.
Yeah.
We started early, and therefore, given the time that we extended that into, we said 2 minutes for public comment, mindful of everyone's time. We've heard before that people want to hear the business done before a late hour, including many people in this room. So we moved some of our agenda items, including the speed limit piece, because people wanted to see that done. We have public comment at this time. We have 2 minutes, given the number of speakers. Thank you. Please.
My question is, who decides the 2 minutes? The council or
The
the
chair
mayor?
of the meeting decides.
Weak mayor system.
Hi. Thank you so much for the ordinance. I'm really excited about that.
Thank you. I want to speak to you as citizens, as change makers, not as a weak mayor and a weak council. We're all grown-ups, we're professionals, and as such, regardless of barriers, I think it's really time that we think beyond the status quo. I fully believe in you, Mr. LaPola. I really do, and I've seen the action that you've already taken, and I really, really appreciate it. I want to inspire us to think differently about budget and opportunity. And let's just do it. Let's stop having all of these excuses. Let's stop looking at the barriers. Let's stop looking at what's wrong. And let's look at what could be right. Over Thanksgiving, lots of us went away for the holidays, and we had an incredible opportunity. We got to see in Europe, in South America, in different parts of America, the incredible traffic infrastructure that small towns the same size as ours have decided to implement over the last few years. They've decided to implement this because they care about their citizens. This is not a special interest group. These are people. Vivian, David's mother, was a person, and she mattered to her family, and now she's not here. We shouldn't wait for Elizabeth to continue to campaign, and maybe 3 years down the line, somebody dies at her intersection because of a crash. And I know you guys agree with me. So that's why I'm saying, let's think as citizens. Vision Zero is one small part of an overall systemic and strategic plan. There are other things that we can absolutely do and we can do today. Again, as change makers, as citizens. I want to know how we, and Mr. LaPola, I think this is a big question for you, how we can ensure our complete streets plan, which Montclair was the first town in New Jersey to implement a complete streets plan, how we can implement that, how we can budget for this, and how we can do our jobs better to ensure traffic safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. LaPola, I'm pleased to hear, as you noted before, that one of the budgetary focuses is going to be around investing in the infrastructure work, as you noted. So appreciate that.
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Kevin Dyer, and I'm a resident of Ward 1 in Upper Montclair. In the theme of pedestrian safety, I wanted to talk a little bit about Montclair Safe, which is our complete streets program, first envisioned in 2011 and last updated with public input in 2017. This plan, which included many of the vital street safety improvements we're talking about today, such as daylighting intersections to make pedestrians visible to drivers, improving street lights to a human scale, and creating dedicated bike lane network throughout our whole town, has seemingly been pushed to the wayside as pedestrian fatalities across this country have reached 40-year highs. Many of these plans were low cost and were listed in our Montclair Safe Plan as only needing up to 2 years to implement, and that was back in 2017. So my question to you is, why are these street redesigns not currently being implemented? And I'm sure we also have many planned repavings of our streets within the next 5 years. So why not use these as opportunities to implement a lot of these vital pedestrian and bike safety improvements? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ariel Eckstedt. I live at 316 Park Street. Thank you for passing the traffic ordinance tonight. I want to talk about 5 blocks, a 5-block area, 3 blocks and 2 blocks from where I live, starting at Watchung Plaza, going up to Bellevue and Park. Watchung Plaza, I watch every single day as people make left-hand turns or go through to Park Street, ignoring the sign that says right turn only. On Park Street, as I come out of my driveway or drive up to my driveway, going the speed limit, people are passing me on the other side of the street. That is crazy. It happens all the time. My daughter, who is a brand new driver, was terrified the first time this happened. Something really weird is going on. And then finally, at Bellevue Street, Vivian Folkenflik was killed right at Park. This 5-block area, I cannot understand why there isn't a police car stationed in this area to, I mean, the Watchung Plaza issue, it's like every 10 minutes, someone is going against the traffic. This is like an incredible funding source, giving out tickets right there. I rarely see anyone. So everybody is talking about these different parts of the town where this is happening, and it's clearly a time to act and to fund. And lastly, I just want to do a shout out quickly to all the incredible women in this town who are fighting to make the town better. Whether it's rent control, leaf blower bans, pilots, Lackawanna Plaza, issues with the fire department, these are women with full-time jobs, family, and countless other obligations who have found the time to drive down rabbit holes and come out with research worthy of PhD theses. And I want to thank them all, and I hope everybody who's watching is thanking them too for helping our town.
Thank you.
You know, I'm really, very happy that you started saying all the right things about road safety.
Just remind her name and...
Sorry, I'm Mariana Horta, and I live on Gordonhurst Avenue. But I haven't forgotten that in October, we came here, we came with Jessica, and we came with several bike bus volunteers, and we asked you for a few hours of a grant writer. A few hours of a grant writer. In a town that spends over $18 million in personnel costs for firefighters alone. And you told us no. Our safety, our kids' safety, our parents' safety is not worth to you a few hours of a grant writers for a very low-hanging fruit, the Safe Routes to School program. Several similarly sized, similarly affluent municipalities in Essex County have collected millions of dollars from these grants. You passed on it. You didn't give us a few hours. And you know why it's a few hours? Because Jessica Tillier and her volunteers had already written the grant. They had written it, and they needed a few hours of the grant writer to go over it, to put some town-specific information that we didn't have access to make sure that it was kosher, and to make sure that the township was willing to submit it for us. And you need it. You did not submit it. So telling us that you've implemented Vision Zero, that you do this and this and that, we can't believe you until you do it, because now you owe us. You owe us every penny we could have gotten from that grant. You owe us to submit at least 5 grants a year for infrastructure. You owe us that, because you just said no for a few hours of a grant writer. And then on November 13th, I come here and you tell me you've implemented Vision Zero. You haven't. You haven't implemented Vision Zero until you implemented system safety in our streets. You haven't implemented until we have complete streets. You haven't implemented until you stop repaving and recurbing incomplete streets instead of building completing streets. You haven't implemented until we have dedicated bike lanes so our kids can ride a bike to school alone, so we don't have teenagers, 16-year-olds, driving to the high school and parking where there's nowhere to park.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I'll take my 3 minutes. You know why? Instead of limiting our time to speak, you need to limit your time to speak from the dais, because we would be out of here so much faster if we had our 3 minutes and you weren't interrupting us. So do not interrupt me.
We might fully
because
agree
you
in terms
owe
of
us.
us people.
Okay? Limit your time, don't limit ours. $15,000 of coverage for a consultant is not enough. You owe us millions of dollars in safety infrastructure. You owe us every intersection to be daylighted. You owe us every street to have sidewalks. And you owe us street lighting in every pedestrian crossing. And then everything else the Vision Zero Task Force will ask of you. You owe us that. How are you going to give us that next year? How much will be on the budget? Because I was in the budget hearings, and I didn't hear a penny, right? Our Department of Community Service that would be doing this building did not ask for a penny in money for safety infrastructure, for complete streets, for any of the things we're asking for. So how much money will be there? Let us know.
Thank you.
Take it from the fire department. They're useless.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Stolzberg. I live on Fairfield Street. It's interesting. I'm pretty easy to connect the dots between Vision Zero and the gas leaf blower issues because last spring, when, as you know, we were working tirelessly to get you to move towards the legislation that you passed, thank you, someone on the dais told us in the spring that he would not prioritize it because he was so dedicated to Vision Zero. That was last spring. And you know what? That guy sped out of town in a shiny new red car 2 days after you guys pushed through Lackawanna Plaza at the objection of your own planning board. So this is next level dysfunction because now you're all talk about Vision Zero, but that was being held up as the reason why you wouldn't focus on the gas leaf blower last spring. And now this fall, Vision Zero is coming together and there's actually 2 people dead because someone else died at, I believe it was Grove in Bloomfield, and you get off on a technicality that you don't have 2 deaths on your conscience because I think they considered it Bloomfield where it happened, like it wasn't quite Montclair. But for where all of us who live in Montclair, it scared us just the same because there are 2 people who died near where we all live. And so let's move on to the gas leaf blower thing because I think you know how much we know, how hard we worked, and how much knowledge there is in what we did. So Lori, your task force that you passed last month when most of the leaves were always on the ground, what I don't understand is how come I was able to get on WNYC to speak on Brian Lehrer's climate segment to talk about gas leaf blowers, but the task force needs to be head up by an old prior mayor. Most of us don't even remember. He preceded my time here. And when I spoke to him on the phone, by the time he was done with the conversation that he didn't expect to have from me, he said, I'm not really sure what the task force is for because the law has already been passed. And I told him, why don't you use your great, well-regarded people skills to get your house in order and get the equipment that your employees need? Because you know what? Overall, this went quite smoothly. And sorry, I am going to take my time to tell you something. You've had a task force all along. We are like a secret, quiet task force doing your work for you because you won't acknowledge us. You don't take us up on our offers. I emailed you, Lori, many of you who were involved in passing it. Lori, you took a week to respond. You were the only one who responded a week later and said, I'll circle back, and you never did. And then the next month, as the legislation, the most important thing you've done to protect public health in Montclair since any of you have been in office, you did not end up you didn't respond to me when I said, can we talk about enforcement and communication and let's make this as successful as possible. So anyone who got this in their water bill, by the way, I wrote it with other people. My husband put this nice little border around it and see the little logo of the town because I wanted it to look official. This was my idea to put it in the water bill following another town. My husband put this on. Your secret task force got this out, not you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Also, this is your town flyer, your town communication thing on this important legislation you passed. It was redesigned by one of the members of this task force. We changed the language to update it because you guys just hadn't, and it was languishing. So Lori, thank you for this task force. It's kind of like if you brought people to the table after the smoking laws happened to talk to the smokers and the business owners to find out how they were doing. And if it's going to help make it successful, that's great, but we are all quaking in our boots that you're actually going to weaken it in some way. Or also, what is Ed Remsen's role here?
Thank you.
Where is he from? He doesn't know anything about the gas leaf blower, but I'm glad he's a good talker.
Thank you.
Because that's what it sounds like you appointed him for at the stroke of midnight when no one knew, when it wasn't on the agenda, and it is just so maddening. You're welcome. Thank you. You have never responded to one single email that we ever sent to you about the gas leaf blowers over 6 months.
That's your time, and thank you, and we appreciate being able to pass that. Thank you.
You appreciate what?
A moment.
That we passed it. Thank you.
Have you done anything to let really strengthen it?
Thank you.
I didn't think so. Not one word out of any of you until a secret task force came forward in November when the leaves were already on the ground. It's enough.
Kind of enough is right, because basically, I don't know why you're seething angry. Basically, you can. Say I'm angry. Well, does anybody here not recognize that?
Is anyone else in this room angry? Because we're all angry.
Okay.
We are not taking care of this community. Why aren't
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to re-engage you. What I want to do is make my comment. I will happily talk to you another time what I'm trying to say, there's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot going on in this town, and I think everyone's carrying a lot of stuff, and everyone's entitled to it. I guess what I'd like to say is that at the time that and I believe I played a substantial role in trying to work with everybody, Jessica and Anna and many other people who are advocates, as well as council colleagues who wanted there to be a gas-powered leaf blower ban, and we did successfully do that, and I know I played, I'll say, a significant role in helping it get over the finish line. I'm not trying to take the credit. I credit the advocates largely with educating us. But what I do want to say is I was aware that I didn't have the time as an elected official to day-to-day be doing that, and I asked, how can we move this forward? And we said, could we appoint some kind of task force? And it didn't happen initially, and we said, we're going to give it to the staff. And to some degree, Michael Lapola and Lisa Johnson, who's our something like sustainability officer, whatever her title is, began to make some efforts, and it was in cooperation, I guess, with you, Jessica, and others, that we made sure that we got the information out in the water bill. And I didn't know that you and your husband worked on the border and everything else, but I know that you were a partner.
We wrote the whole thing.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, because you care deeply. You care deeply, and that's fine.
You didn't even engage, did you even know?
I did. Yes, I did know, and I was talking with Lisa. Okay, so as I'm saying, I acknowledge that the staff had to play a key role, and the staff did what it could for some initial period, and then we didn't have an opportunity before October came. I mean, I actually would like to have seen that happen much sooner. It is the way it works. We are all beset with many things, not necessarily in the order and the wish that we have them. And I will say I did my best on my part. I believe other people have done their best. And we know that many people are complying, and there probably is some lack of compliance with that, and to the extent that people can be educated further. And the obvious goal of a task force at this point isn't for the initial, what it could have done if it was able to be birthed in the very beginning, but it will be a further ongoing education process about sustainable practices and ways that we can make our town healthier, have more sound, again, for public health, personal health, all the reasons that we passed the thing. So I'll leave it at that, but I'm happy to reach out to you and talk if you would still like to after this. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question, very important to me, because when Jessica talks about a midnight resolution that was passed, I'm the one who objected to it, and 2 other council people voted against it. That means it only had 4 council people pass it. In the last 3 or so weeks, I haven't heard anything about this committee, this task force headed by a former mayor who has his own political agenda. I objected to not only the task force because it's unnecessary, but the way it was passed that night is the key to why people in this town are frustrated. At 11:30 at night, I was handed a 3-page resolution with the final words in it saying, whereas, therefore we appoint Edward Remsen to be the chair. Now, we usually let committees that we appoint pick their own chair, so that was out of order. Secondly, it was midnight. Thirdly, the person picked to chair it has his own agenda, and as Jessica just said, he told her he doesn't even know what it's going to do. And all I'm asking as a council member, elected 6 times with 5,000 votes last time, can somebody here tell me, where is this committee? What is it doing? When is it going to meet? What is Mr. Remsen doing? Is he creating it? Is he chairing it? Is he meeting with people? What is going on? Maybe the manager can tell me, because after we pass that, then shouldn't we pass the appointment of the people to it? Yeah. For example, it says there'll be 2 or 3 advocates. Obviously, Jessica Stolzberg is an advocate. Shouldn't she be appointed? Then you're going to appoint 2 people who don't like the ordinance. Then you're going to appoint 2 landscapers that hate me. Then you're going to appoint 2 landscapers that like electric. So who's going to appoint these people? When are we going to get their names? Are they applying to serve on this committee? Is Ed Remsen going to pick them all out? These are legitimate questions. I'm asking the questions that the residents are asking me. Where did this ordinance, this resolution come from at midnight 3 weeks ago? I praise my colleagues Bill Herlock and David Cummings for voting no on it. I left before they voted, but I objected in the closed session because I was never really involved And yet this is something that I worked on for 20 years with Jessica DeConnick, our former councilwoman. So I'm just telling you folks how frustrating it is to serve up here with these shenanigans going on. There seems to be a majority that keeps doing these things last minute, no input from the public, and especially from the people who are most involved, like Jessica and her husband did some work. I mean, what are we doing as a government? I don't blame you, Michael. We had a manager before you that we had to get rid of because of this problem, because of not responding to people, because of criticizing council members like me who ask questions, maybe treating people badly. Now, you're a nice guy, but you got to get these things done for people and for the council when we ask questions. And because I'm in the minority on the council, I guess, you don't think it's important to respond to me.
Well, I'll simply say this, one of the challenges when we mention late night votes, right, and we see the hour as it ticks along here, right, one of the things I mentioned at the start of this meeting, and we're hearing, and I even heard a couple of residents talk about the time that some are responding and taking up here in their comments. That is why then when you're going to take action on things, it happens at 11 at night. That's just
please,
one
because
of the
I
two.
spoke now, I'm
I don't
causing
think I
things to be
interrupted
11
you.
o'clock at night.
Thank you. So you can't have it both ways. So what we see we're always working with is you wanting to hear from people, but also not do things late night, right? So today, good example of moving some of the business to an earlier time frame so that we're able to discuss it. People are able to see what was on the agenda and move things. And quite frankly, I think that's a model we might look at. I know Councilman Cummings is looking at when we put public comment and some of the things. I know he's got some recommendations on that. I think he shared them at the last few meetings in terms of signups and when that happens. But certainly, and as chair, I'm looking at let's do business, some of the business. People want to comment on some of the business that we have. Great. General public comments at the end. So we don't hear, oh, there's these late night votes, right? So that's one way to address it. I think specifically, too, as I sit here and I listen to oftentimes comments about people trying for 20 years to do X, Y, and Z. One of the things I am very proud of is that we actually are doing things, right? And I sense the frustration, but I am very proud. We are still one of the first to implement a gas-powered leaf blower ban, right? As challenging the discussions and everything else, we took that step. We are, a community that leads, right? When we finally, again, people's noting, 20 years been trying, we passed a rent control ordinance, right? We're hearing from people tonight talking about the impact that it has, and we see it. When we talk about the work that Vision Zero is doing, excellent. We're moving forward with these pieces, right? So I appreciate the comments that are here, and I sense the desire to make sure we keep moving, and as we should. But certainly, I will also not, have, I think, the mischaracterization when we hear things like, fire department's useless. I don't agree, right? I think they do a great job. When I think people saying the community, isn't thriving, it is thriving. We have multiple community events. People are dying to be here. There's wonderful things going on. I'm very proud of that. So I just want to say to my council colleagues who I know do sit up here and have late nights, I'm appreciative of the effort and the things we're doing, and I know many people in the public are. I think it's upon us to make sure we're managing here, and I will say lastly, we need to model the behavior, right? So when we talk about setting norms in some of the pieces, you may or may not like it, but at whatever hour, you also don't want to be the last one waiting when people have gone over time. You probably don't want to hear people, speaking out of turn up here either. Neither do we, right? Any of us. So in that dynamic, it is on us to make sure that we're leading in that space, and we will continue to try and do so. And I'm very proud of the things that we are being able to accomplish here as a township. So with that, thank you, and next person, and we'll conclude our public comments, please.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Avery, 25 Irving Street. I've had to strike quite a bit. I hope I can fit it in the 2 minutes. All of law enforcement would be marshaled to prevent a holdup at the bank, but so-called elected officials can hold up the taxpayers of Montclair through fraud, waste, and abuse. Then these same so-called elected officials brazenly use our taxes to pay law firms over $225,000 to cover up crimes. These counselors took $8,200 each from the NJEA PAC for the 2020 election. Spiller and Russo took an additional $8,200 each for the 2024 election for a total of $65,000. The NJEA PAC requires the local union, in this case the Montclair Education Association, to make the request for local campaign contributions in their meeting minutes. In the 2020 municipal election, over $100,000 was paid to Publitix for advertising. Spiller and his slate, all of you up there, outspent Renee Baskerville by $97,000. Spiller then paid the McCarter and English law firm $45,000, and Russo paid an additional $10,000 for a grand total of $55,000. How much money does it cost to count all the votes in a close municipal election? $55,000? Or is that how much it cost to steal the Montclair municipal election? Sean Spiller is sabotaging the safety and security of this community. He does not possess the skills, knowledge, or expertise to run the state teachers union, let alone any township. There is so much need in the community, it is heartbreaking. But there would be plenty of funding for helping others if this council didn't spend so much on themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Monica Goodrich. I live at 214 Alexander Avenue. I've lived in Montclair for 19 years. I want to thank the council for taking the first steps towards a safer Montclair, passing the recent ordinance about speed limits. Please continue to communicate with Essex County to reduce speed limits on county roads that run through Montclair, particularly Valley Road and Upper Mountain Avenue. Reducing speed limits is of utmost urgency. Like many residents, I am frustrated and angry about our dangerous streets. But I also want to share a new vision for Montclair. We have the opportunity to create a livable, walkable town, that is the envy of nearby communities. It's time to embrace street design that puts pedestrians first, that puts our children's safety first, that puts bike transportation first. Our top priority should not be moving cars through town as fast as possible, always and everywhere. This is an outdated way of thinking. We know that a more human-centric street design significantly enhances safety. Narrower lanes, designated bike lanes, wider sidewalks, and improved crosswalks create a safer environment for all road users. Studies consistently show that such design changes reduce accident rates, protect vulnerable road users, and encourage healthier modes of transportation. Change does not have to be expensive or take years to create. Urban designers could advise us of inexpensive, temporary solutions to implement right now. By creating inviting and accessible public spaces, we not only enhance the quality of life for residents, but also attract more visitors and businesses. These changes can boost property values and promote economic growth. We all want to live in a town where we can safely walk and bike, and where our children have the freedom to explore the town safely and independently. Better street design will make this possible. I urge the council to consider creative solutions. Let's design a city that thrives for generations to come. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amy Veach, and I live on 535 Upper Mountain Avenue on the corner of Mount Hebron. And I just want to take a minute, and it's been a long night, and I want to acknowledge each one of you and say thank you. I know that sitting where you're at, it's not an easy job, and that there's a lot going on in this town, and there's a lot of strong feelings, and I really thank you. Like, I know it's not easy, and I appreciate your efforts, and I really, I applaud your passing the ordinance today. Thank you. It's like, this is part of the change that we really need. And I believe in you guys, and I believe in this town, and I feel like listening to everybody speak, there's a real need for change on our streets. And we all know it. You know it. We know it. We see it. You see it. It's real. And it's not just here. It's across the country. Like, the level of violence towards pedestrians with vehicles has really risen. And so I stand here, I think, with the rest of the community, with you, not against you, but with you, because I really know we can do it, and I believe we can do it. And we have the power. I know that there's bureaucracy, but let's not wait for the worst before we make change. Let's change it before the worst happens. We can prevent it. And I believe in us. I really do. I think I'll just leave it at that. So please keep carrying on. Have a central source, a central place where we can work as a team, as a unit, as a community to address the issues in the town and the traffic where it really needs to have change. So again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being so kind.
Mayor?
Thank you.
Mayor?
Oh, Mr. Paul.
Just as an update on the Upper Mountain Avenue portion, that is the county, controlled by the county, our engineering department has completed their study and review. We believe that we have a justification to present to the county to reduce the speed from 35 to 25, and that will be presented then. We are cautiously optimistic, and we will keep you informed, but that study was already done.
For all the residents on Upper Mountain and Valley Road, those as well, but for Upper Mountain residents, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
And Amy, thank you for working with us. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chrissy Thomas, and I'm a 54-year resident of Montclair. And I was here last week when Councilor Cummings brought up the idea of limiting the number of people who could address the town by effectively locking the church doors at a certain time so people who get here late can't speak. This week, without any notice, you changed the amount of time we could speak from 3 minutes to 2. It's not our job to listen to the public. It's yours. We come to be heard, taxpayers, parents, children, grandparents, because something is bothering us. We bring it to the attention of our elected officials with the hope that they'll be able to address the issue, not pay it lip service, but actually try to resolve problems, or at least stop creating problems by not abiding laws and processes. We don't come here to complain or waste our breath, or at least I try not to. We need a record of all of the laws that you ignore, all of the processes you disobey, and all the lawsuits that you invite by, for example, violating procurement processes and procedures. Remember during COVID, I told you that Clary Anderson was not abiding the ordinances? Did you know that there's only one public skating session per day, and it's at 1 in the afternoon? No kids can go. There's only one on Saturdays. What are we doing? We're giving contracts to your friends without proper bids? It's unheard of. I also want to let the public know that there was already a lawsuit about Montclair failing to abide procurement procedures, and it was titled Maddox versus Ed Remsen, and some of you counselors were part of it. You, despite his failure to abide the law, chose to put him on the leaf blower ordinance or the leaf blower task force after it passed. I don't know what you're doing, but you're not abiding the law. Stop it.
Thank you.
Wow, what a night. I'm Joe Perdue, 54 North Mountain Avenue, born and raised in Montclair. Incredible experience hearing all this. I was just here, I had no idea. I thought I was going to be called how I signed in, which was about 50 people ago. I live at North Mountain Avenue. I've been running around the town, literally walking and running around the town for 6 years, and I had no idea what I would hear. But people are going 60 miles an hour on Highland. They're speeding. We're simply a shortcut for people to go from Garden State Parkway or Clifton to get to Essex Fells. This is just crazy. Cars going by 60 when I'm running on Highland. Pot all the time. I guess that's legal now. Whatever. But Valley Road, parts of Park, of course, Grove, North Mountain, Upper Mountain, Highland's ridiculous. I mean, 50, 60 miles an hour all the time. I have an easy idea, the easiest thing we've heard all night. Self-funding. I've not seen one policeman. People, a red light, a light turns red. I wrote Chief Conforti. One car goes through, 5 cars go through. We're promoting speeding. We're promoting running through red lights. I had no idea what I would hear tonight, that other people are talking about this. Claremont and Upper Mountain, whether coming down, going up, coming from Montclair Kimberly Academy or from Upper Montclair, the light changes, it's lawless. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people running, speeding everywhere, no police. Who do I speak to get the police to give out tickets, which would be self-funding? And if somebody gets a ticket, they're going to get points and have to pay $150. They're going to slow down. There's other towns, you go 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, you get a ticket. Who do I speak to get the police to sit on Upper Mountain Avenue behind any worker's truck? A car comes by at 50, you're getting a huge ticket. $150 ticket, Montclair gets the money, it's self-funding, we'll make money on it. We could make money on turning Montclair safe. We're losing the town. I was born and raised here.
Thank you.
I have a question for him right here. What did Chief Conforti say to you when you talked to him?
He's doing aesthetics.
Yeah, no response. I didn't expect the chief of police to write me back when I say 5 people go through red lights. People are speeding. We're a shortcut for other towns. We're promoting this activity. We're promoting it by not doing anything about it.
Well,
It's getting worse every year.
I talk to Chief Conforti all the time. I want to make it clear that they do stop vehicles all the time, and there are issuing summonses. Speeding, listen to me, speeding is a regional issue. This is not just a township issue. It's a regional issue. I've listened to a lot of the conversation here tonight, and I don't think that people really realize how much of an issue that speeding is, not just Montclair, but Bloomfield, Verona, Glen Ridge, the other municipalities around. I was a police officer for 35 years, and I see them speeding around here. I do know that our traffic and safety division is out there issuing summonses all the time. Now, is it a budgetary thing? I've heard that like a little bit before also. If you want to add more police officers, then you're gonna have to pay the budget and move more police officers out there on the street. But however, there are other issues that are going on besides speeding. There's people's houses getting broken into. There are stolen vehicles out there. There's domestic violence. There's a lot of different issues, a pie chart. So as an administrator in the police department, you have to take all of these things under consideration. Yes, maybe some calming for, some of the streets, can be done. But my view is it's going to have to be some education, more education to the mass of people around the region, and let them know that, listen, we need to slow down. We need to take it easy on our streets in the region. That's just my take on it,
My understanding is we have 60 sworn officers in Montclair, roughly.
That's
A lot of
correct.
the speeding happens between 7 and 9 when they're going across Montclair speeding. Somewhere around 4 o'clock, you can't believe what Highland is like. I've not seen one. I've spent, it must be 150 hours running and walking around town. Not one policeman have I seen pulling somebody over. Do you know who I would speak to try to get more activity as far as red light running and speeding?
Call my office and I'll arrange a call.
I mean, not one. It's mathematically impossible. And a lot of the break-ins, all these cars being stolen, that's at night. This is rush hour. I'm telling you, it's a mathematical impossibility, but it happened. But thank you all so much, and this should be a bladder control commercial.
We need a break.
Hi, everybody. Eric D'Amato, 25 Norwood in the First Ward. I just want to say a couple of things about traffic that have not been mentioned tonight. The first is that you actually may have really saved lives, literally, by doing what you did, which is pretty good. I mean, literally, my kid's life may have been saved, and that's great. The second thing, surprisingly, that has not been mentioned tonight is something called an autonomous or self-driving vehicle. So after a long period of overhype and delay, the era of the driverless car has finally arrived, if not yet in Montclair. As of last month, when you call an Uber in Phoenix, you need to specify that you want a person behind the wheel. Wow, exactly, Robin. That's what I said.
Yep.
While this is kind of freaky and a little bit creepy, I think it's actually good news, especially for a community like ours. For one thing, data suggests that on a mile-for-mile basis, self-driving cars are much safer than human-piloted ones. But they could be transformative in other ways for a place like our town. Largely, first of all, removing the problem of parking almost completely and making it easier for people to spend time and money at our wonderful commercial districts. We will also see a change in the size of vehicles on our streets. Instead of people always using the same big family SUV or sedans, we'll be able to quickly hail a lightweight 1 or 2 seater when it's just us and a companion or a couple of shopping bags. And with fewer big vehicles on the road, we may be more likely to walk or bike and be safer when we do so. So it's a very bright future, I think, but it'll be a lot brighter if we as a township actually plan for it. So while we are working to make our streets safer today, we should also be actively thinking about what happens when today's cars are replaced by tomorrow's cars. Being a progressive town shouldn't just mean being somewhere off to the left politically. It's got to be about anticipating progress, including technical progress, and making it work for us here. Thanks.
Thank you. That's interesting.
Great point. Great point.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is.
Something we can all agree on,
Speeding
Eric.
then.
There'll be speed, right, they'll drive the speed.
That's right.
Don't mean to keep everyone here and wasn't planning to speak again, but I feel compelled to by recent comments. It's Ilmar Vanderer, 127 Edgemont Road. I wanted to echo the statements made by many of the previous speakers regarding public comment and public hybrid participation in meetings. As a longtime student of politics and communications professional, I strongly believe that we need more public comment, not less of it, and it is an essential component of democracy as well as openness, transparency, and honesty in government. So it's been my experience that elected officials who are averse to hearing public comment are often those who forget who elected them and why they were elected to serve in the first place. That's just a general observation. And I want to go on the record as saying that I am perplexed and puzzled why Montclair Public Library, as well as the Montclair Board of Education, have been able to successfully implement hybrid public participation at their meetings post-COVID, yet the Montclair Township Council considers this to be an impossibility, apparently. So I would welcome any insight or clarification as to why it can't be implemented in this context and environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So with that, I will close public comment. Public comment is closed. Councilwoman Price Abrams?
Thanks, Mayor. I did want to come back to just the matter of, as Ed Remsen had been in earlier discussion, former mayor, someone that I know many of us consider as someone we consult as an advisor, just some history from his tenure in service. And so I really just wanted to be clear about the reason I and others considered asking Ed to serve as a chair of the leaf blower task force was not because he has expertise about leaf blowers, but because he has process expertise. And the idea was that he would just help bring together the right kinds of people. I know it's still in process, and as I described before, it's not obviously to implement the thing that's taking care of the leaves that are already mostly picked up at this point, but it's to make sure that we're considering a broad array of things. And I really just wanted to ensure that I thanked Ed publicly, that I acknowledged, again, for anybody who was wondering if you haven't been yet consulted or otherwise, that they're assembling the right kind of parties, as Council Russo noted. It's meant to be bringing together different perspectives on the issue, but nonetheless, Ed was requested to serve because of his again, skills in sort of process and bringing people together. So I will just want to thank him and partly really to make sure that those who had asked understand where we thought that was a good fit. So thank you again.
You bet. Mr. LaPola, can you please go through the items on the agenda for discussion? And I think most of the things we are generally aware of, so you don't have to spend too much time on them.
All right.
But if there's something there's additional questions on, you can do that. All items will then add to consent agenda for the next meeting, assuming there's no objections. Okay? Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. LaPola.
Resolution number 1 is just a housekeeping resolution from the tax collector in terms of refunds of less than $10. Number 2 sets the rate for penalties and a grace period for the receipt of delinquent taxes pursuant to state statute. Resolutions 3, 4, and 4 have to do with the township participating in different co-ops. And we try to join as many co-ops as possible because we get
Save money.
better rates. Number 5 is a contract for for repairs to a property in the Montclair Home Improvement Program. Numbers 6 and 7 were through a fair and open professional service process for the hiring of an appraisal company and 2 appraisal companies used by our tax assessor. Number 8 is a refund of escrow balances for projects that have been deemed complete or dismissed, denied, etc. by the planning department. Number 9 is a resolution for allowing for the payment of debt service that's due between the end of the year and the first meeting on January 2nd. Number 10 is a water contract with Matrix New World Services having to do with the environmental remediation project at the Department of Community Services at 219 North Fullerton. Number 11 is the resolution awarding of a fair and open professional service contract to the DeFrancesco Law Firm. Number 12 is the award of a professional service contract to Eric Bernstein and Associates. And number 13 is appointing Janice Talley to be the town's representative on the Community Development Committee.
Sounds good. Does anyone have any
And
objection to
David
those, or
Cummings,
we'll add those to
I'm sorry,
the consent agenda?
it's Janice and David Cummings.
Well, yeah, but it also is a third name. You overlooked the third name. That's my question.
And her assistant, I'm
It's-
sorry.
It's that there's an assistant, but now here's my question. Years ago, Councilor Schlager was on with another council member. I was on at one time, and I wanted to be on. Now, it says that the county, the reason it's 3 is the county is allowing more so they can have a quorum. So the quorum is allowing us to put more people on. My suggestion is more council people go on. Having her assistant go on doesn't give the council more input. Now, I go to every event when they give out the checks for CDBG. I know that Councilor Schlager did it in the past, Councilor Cummings does it now. I go to every session when they give out the checks. I interact with the county at all times. I would like to serve on that as a liaison rather than have the assistant to the town planner.
I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry.
I believe Mr. Cummings,
Yeah, I believe,
he's
I
the
believe
one
that,
council
I believe
person.
that allows, it's not a third a member of the committee. It allows another person to be appointed, so if one can't be there, the other one can go in their stead.
More alternates, you're saying?
Sort of like an alternate thing. So if one of the others, they could send another representative. I believe
I
that's
think
what
that's
this
it, but
is.
I also know that
Yeah.
what it's saying is they're having a problem getting a quorum. Now, what I'm saying is this is so important. We heard all the people tonight asking for money. We have to respond. We ask questions. It's a very important thing to me that the county gives us what we need, and I have enough connections with that county government, and I've gone to every meeting, which you don't know about, Michael, up in Cedar Grove, when they present the checks. I'm there to take the picture with Janice Talley. Sometimes I'm the only one. I would like to be on that committee. If there's going to be three, let be two council members and Janice Talley, rather than her assistant. I'm just suggesting. You don't want to put me on there, fine.
I have a related question, I guess, and that's just, does that person need to be serving as a council member, you know, if after this council tenure ends?
I don't know the answer. I'll ask.
So we might just hold this
I'll
the
ask
next
Janice
time.
to
Why don't we-
Well,
get
yeah,
the
we're not
answers
doing
to
it. We're
everybody.
not doing it till next time.
Right, it's
You
not.
can ask
I just wanted you to check, Michael,
Sure.
can there be two? I know there were two council people in the past. I know this. So I'm just saying the council has a real role in hearing people and getting the money for them, and it's a council role. It's not an administrative role. Janice plays a good role as going to all the meetings once a month. I used to go to meetings when Joyce Goldman was the council liaison. Now, I just want to ask one other question. This number 11 and 12, I hope my colleagues will hear me. 11 and 12, I know we're not voting on it tonight, but before next meeting, if everybody would just listen to me for a second. Number 11, I'm not having as big a problem with as I used to. The DeFrancesco Bateman Law Firm does commercial. I've asked the town attorney, you can clarify for me if you could, Paul. Commercial tax appeals are done by DeFrancesco Bateman, right?
Actually by both of them.
Oh, and I thought that Bernstein did the residential.
No.
They do both. They do both, okay.
They do both, and the law department handles some of the residential.
Right. Now, I don't know if anybody's listening to this, the clerk, the manager. I'm asking these to be looked at very carefully because, manager, if you can hear me, these two firms were rehired last year. We gave them $80,000 each. My question was very clear, and I've got an answer again today, that Mr. Bernstein, I'm not talking about DeFrancesco Bateman, although I had questions about them being very politically connected, and I thought maybe they could do all of this work, which I think they could do all this work, or our town attorney being paid maybe extra, as we used to pay our former town attorney extra to do it. But the one that's number 12 bothers me because Eric Bernstein is an attorney for Mr. Tim Stafford, and he attends and has attended the court sessions for him. So I think there's a conflict and a problem for us to be paying $80,000 for a gentleman whose law firm represents somebody that's in legal conflict with us.
Just for clarification, Eric Bernstein is not Tim's attorney. It is one of the associates or
In his law
our
firm.
equity partners, yes.
In his law firm.
And Mr. Bernstein, firm Eric Bernstein Associates, was appointed to represent Tim as part of the JIF, yes. So it's through the JIF that the manager, former manager, is getting representation, and it's not the township is paying for it, it's through our insurance carrier as his position as township manager, not
Okay.
as an individual litigant in the
Okay.
action.
Do any of you see anything wrong with us giving $80,000 to a gentleman's firm that is in a litigation situation with us, that is defending somebody that we removed because of problems? Do you see anything wrong with that? Everybody I've talked to sees a very big conflict there.
Just for clarification, Mr. Stafford's not, in this lawsuit that Eric Bernstein and Associates is representing Mr. Stafford as the township manager. He's not suing us, and we're not adversarial to each other in that litigation. I believe Mr. Stafford has his own personal attorney who is, who represents him in personal matters and not in this township matter.
Okay. I know some people are not listening. I'm going to say it one more time for the record, maybe for the public. We are spending there's $160,000 to do tax appeals when our former attorney used to be paid $20,000 extra and handled all of them. So I would think that Paul and Gina, for an extra $20,000 each, could do it, and we'd save $140,000. So it's partially a question of the money we're spending. Secondly, it's a question of these firms being politically connected. They're out in Warren County, they're out in Warren. Forget about it. I don't think that people are listening to me, so good night.
Okay.
You don't listen to things that I'm telling you that you're
How does one demonstrate listening, Bob? I'm sitting here quietly listening to you. I mean, seriously.
Okay.
what-
Do what you want to, do what you want to. Eric Bernstein should not be given $80,000.
Okay, so I think it certainly, I think, I speak on behalf of the remaining councilors, it is certainly frustrating for someone who does note that he interrupts meetings all the time, but then when we talk about the hour with which business is done, we are the ones who do sit here and remain and do the business, and we do have a colleague who, quite frankly, leaves every time, right?
Without fail, Mr. Mayor.
Without fail, right? So, very frustrating in that regard.
Completely out of line.
Completely out of line. I mean,
So what do we do about it?
well, you know, I mean, I guess that's for the
It's been
public to
going on
look at and
for,
others.
it's been going
that-
on for years, so.
Well, Mr. Burr, I guess you could look into, you know, the fact that, you know, if a council person is just not, you know, quite frankly, ever finishing meetings to do their business, where does that leave us? I appreciate the attacks that they then give of how they would have voted if they actually stayed for the end of the meeting, and they share that with the public, but that's actually not a vote, and it's actually not making sure your constituents' voices are in this space, right? We disagree on things, I think even up here, but our constituents who elected us know that we're advocating, and is what that is. But once again, I look at the hour, here we are, and I see who has chosen to leave early again. I think he noted this meeting he wasn't going to leave early, but there you go. Never going to do it again. Anyway.
I'll look into that and provide you with something.
Yep, okay. So to, yes.
Sabrina, could you close that door? Yes, thank you.
So I'll just start us off in this space, and I'll go around the horn very quickly, but I'll just say this to each of you, and you know, certainly I know my little guys were not able to see Santa at the on the fire truck this year, Mr. Deputy Mayor, but
We missed you, Mr. Mayor, and your family, actually.
certainly. But I do want to say in that spirit, you know, just wishing everyone a happy and healthy holidays. You know, certainly, I think as you noted in this meeting, you know, the world is a challenging place right now, and I think everyone is feeling that. The emotions are right there on the surface. But it is those moments when you see the businesses giving out that hot chocolate, you know, and other things, which I like the hot chocolate.
Me too.
But everybody coming together. You know, I'll just share this with my colleagues. I think you guys experience this as well. Rightfully so. We hear from residents here who have their concerns and they want to share them. And so often when we're out in the community, we hear from those who are just truly enjoying the great things that are happening. And I think it's important to note that each of you, collectively, we are part of helping to make that happen. I want to thank you for that, and thank you for the service there. So with the time with your families and friends and everything else, just want to say really a happy holidays to each and every one of you, and certainly enjoy the work we're all doing. So thank you, guys. All right. Mr. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that very much. I'm going to go a little off script, though, just because I think I'm not that I'm counting, but this has got to be the third or fourth meeting where we haven't had time to go around the horn. So if you will just indulge me
I'm
for
indulging.
a second, because there's so much.
And we're going around the horn, so do it.
and I'm here. I'm at my end of the horn, Mr. Mayor, and there's just so much that's been going on in town that we're really missing, unfortunately, because of the nature of some of the meetings. And forgive me, I am going to go back a little ways. And it was an honor to preside over the Veterans Day ceremony. I thought Mr. Bates, who is one of our own here in Montclair, did a great job. The Holly Berry, my son Ryan and I went to with the Women's Club of Upper Montclair. That was a great event. I know many of you go over the years, and I know you go there, Robin, as well. We've had many public safety committee meetings with my colleague, Mr. Cummings, and now with Mr. Terry, trying to address many of the issues we talked about tonight. I'm going to go way back now because we haven't had a chance to talk, but the Montclair Film Festival was phenomenal. Was fortunate enough to take in many of the events there, including the Martin Scorsese event at the PAC in Newark, which was great. Attended a bunch of lunches with the Women's Club of Upper Montclair, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. There were some of us there the other day with the turkeys and the distribution for the Thanksgiving. They're doing a great job there. Of course, many of us were at the League benefited from a lot of the seminars and meetings and things that we've done down there. There was the tree lighting, as the mayor just mentioned, on Church Street. And tonight, before I came over as well, there was the Upper Montclair tree lighting over at St. James Church there for the community and for the Upper Montclair Business Association. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of positive. Look, things are bad right now across the board, local, state, federal. We know that. We don't have to say it again. However, there's a lot of good still going on, and let's not miss that. And with that, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Yes, and noted that one of the real good is that it wasn't that cold on the turkey giveaway. I wasn't freezing too bad, but that was a big change for last year. If you remember,
A huge change. And the tree lightings, actually, both of them were relatively warm, balmy, I would even say. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman.
Yes, I also would like to echo that, what you said, Deputy Mayor, is that, and Mayor, there are a lot of good things and a lot of positive things, and I try to focus on that. And I try to focus on, kindness. There were a couple of people that came up tonight that were so kind, and I really appreciate that, and it means a lot. Of course, there will always be people that are not happy. I'm not happy with some things that happen in our town, but I appreciate the positive and kindness that people show, especially around this holiday season. Friday night's the first night of Hanukkah, and which some of us celebrate, and many of our neighbors and friends and town people celebrate Hanukkah, and this year it's more important to celebrate Hanukkah than ever, I feel, in my house anyway. Mr. LaPola, I want to thank you for your efforts. I know you've said it just not long ago this evening. You haven't been here that long, and for the short time you have been here, I think you've been very responsive, very very positive, and you're a quick learner. So I appreciate that. And you're not perfect either, Mr. LaPola, but sorry. But
I think I heard that tonight.
But I appreciate your efforts. This is our town. These are our friends. These are our neighbors. These are no matter what ward you live in, no matter what temple or synagogue or church you go to, this is our community, and let's just show some kindness. And Mr. Terry, we have here with us now. I'm so grateful to be back with him. So, and that's all I want to say. Thanks.
Excellent. It is a great town and community. Yeah, it really is. Roger.
Thank you. Thank you all. First of all, it's been an honor for this month and a half serving with you. It's been a little challenging. Anytime you have an opportunity, though, to serve in your community, to me, it's something special. It always doesn't come out the way you want it to sometimes. I feel the anxiety and anger in some of the people here, but just like you were stating before, there are more good than there are bad. This is a great community to live in. I've lived around the country and traveled around. This is one of the best regions in the country to be in. It's the most diverse region. Some of the best food. I mean, look at all that's going on our eateries around town. Our restaurants. It's a very vibrant community. I've gone to some of the high school sports. Football team did very well. They were in a championship game. The soccer team did well. So the health of this community, I believe, is very, very healthy. I also realize that there are going to be tragedies. Unfortunate that happens from time to time, but when you've been dealing with human beings as long as I've been dealing with them, things are going to happen, unfortunately. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, but overall, this is a great community to work in. And I think people miss that point sometimes, how grateful and blessed they are to be in a town like Montclair. I also want to say that unfortunately some people still come, and some people act disrespectful, and that shouldn't be. You know, we all live here in this community, and you're not just doing this to be doing this. You're doing this because you love your community, and you really care about your community. You care about the people, no matter what the circumstance is. So hopefully, as we move forward, that we'll be able to help the ones that we can help, and even the ones that we can't help, that at least we'll be respectful to them as we move forward. Happy holidays to all, and hopefully you'll be healthy and safe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman?
Well, thank you, and thank you all for just a breadth of comments that, you know, Deputy Mayor, going back, I was thinking also, I'd almost brought the book last time of the courses that I captured at the League, because it's really a nice opportunity to hear some more of the things about sustainability or whatever it is that I'm, or several of the things that I ran into Janice on. And so, you know, it's just a nice coming together of people we know from across the state in all kinds of capacities. It's just a very enriching time, so I appreciate that in this role we get to go down there and really exchange some best practices and share some good things we're doing and learn. So thanks for hearkening us back to that point. But, you know, really echoing a lot of what other people said, one event that I attended, no one yet has mentioned, the Unitarian Church was the host to a very all faiths kind of event, really to try and help us, whoever attended or listened, to process, again, some of the very difficult feelings we all have about what's going on right now in the Middle East and this war of Israel and Hamas. And you know, different faith communities all had an opportunity to speak. There was a response, and sort of, I think in the UU spirit, it was like we hear you, we love you. Everyone was acknowledged for what's their truth, and everyone didn't have to agree, but it was really respectful, and that's, I think, what we all want. More. We would love to agree, but where we can't agree, we can be respectful in that. So that was a very powerful evening. I did miss the fun that preceded it, though, at the tree lighting and such, so I'm glad to know that there was a great turnout for that. Robin noted Hanukkah is coming up, so, you know, that's as a holiday that I observe. I just want to note, as all the holidays, I think this season, there's so much about bringing light into the world, and Hanukkah, the rabbis of yore had decided, are we gonna start with 8 and go down to 1, or are we gonna build? And they said, no, we're gonna increase the light every night. So we start with 1 and we build to 8 nights. And you know, we put them in the window as a sign of just sort of letting people know that's what we're bringing. So I just, maybe we'll end with that sort of both spiritual and just practical calling forward of bringing more light. I know we're all looking to do that in our own ways, and I appreciate everybody here in whatever form of service you're doing, and the people who come, some of whom just walk back in, to say that, you know, it's not easy to hear everything we have to listen to, but we appreciate an engaged public, and we appreciate the opportunity to, you know, reflect and serve. So, thank you.
Yeah, excellent, thank you. Mr. Burr, anything?
Nothing, Mayor, nothing tonight to report, but I will thank all of you for the positive comments you just made. It makes going home this evening uplifting.
Yeah. Clerk's office, Madam Clerk, anything? Yes?
I don't have any report either, but I do wish you all a healthy and happy holiday season.
Thank you. Anything?
Just happy holidays to everyone.
Excellent. Mr. LaPola?
Just two comments.
Yeah.
Mayor, first, I want to mention, you know, sitting here tonight as we listen to the comments or the testimony of the people who are applying for these grants from CDBG, it reminded me that it's important, if I'm sitting home turning on Channel 34, it's nice to see the people's business being done. So I urge, as you mentioned earlier about how this meeting is, how the meeting is organized. In my experience in government and other locations, you open the meeting and perhaps you have presentations or whatever, and then you open the meeting for the purpose of commenting on any item on the agenda. The board, the councilors would then take official action, there's discussion on what they're doing, and then at the end you open the meeting to the public. I think that's a much more functional way to conduct business, and I think that's as important as your job is to conduct the people's business, and that should be the priority. And then at the end, you can open it up, and people can talk about whatever they want.
But I think it's important, you know, you have that juxtaposition or irony of you listen to the public all night, and then when you finally take action, you're accused of taking a midnight action because that's when the meeting's occurring. So I think it's important, and I think if you turn the TV on tonight and you saw these people, as you mentioned, the backbone of the community, making these presentations, that's important for the public to see. And it shouldn't be if they're watching 3 hours into the meeting. So I would urge you to reconsider how you structure the meeting. Everyone will have the opportunity to speak, but I do think that's important that we get down to the business of government first.
Gotcha.
The second part is that in my short tenure here, and I am not a resident, I can tell you that the people who work for the Township of Montclair work really, really hard. And while occasionally we may have a bad actor or an issue that someone may disagree with, the firemen do a great job, the cops do a great job, no one is sitting around, they're doing their jobs. And some people have jobs that are not glamorous, working on the back of a truck or answering a phone, but they work hard. And I have to tell you, you have a great, great workforce in this town, and sometimes you have to say that out loud.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we thank you for doing that. Thank you for that, Mr. Lupola, and certainly I think on behalf of all of us, we want to acknowledge all those town employees and thank them for their service and everything that they do. And I'll just take the last moment of privilege to give a big thank you to Congressman Gottheimer, who I had the chance to go to the White House holiday party last night, which was really, really, really cool. And I have to say, you know, that it was pretty exciting. I was like, whoa! But it's you know, walking around there and seeing everything, and you know, the president, the vice president, and just quite frankly, both parties, everyone coming together. Right? You know, you see, you know, we see what we see on TV, but at something like that, you really see how it's important. I think the theme of what we're all saying, you come together, and it was really, really special to see as well last night. So I want to give a big thank you there. That was really, really cool. So with that, let's all enjoy the holidays and that spirit of it. We'll see each other again but then, you know, we will, you know, just keep enjoying the time with family and friends. All right? So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right. All in favor? Great. Thanks, everybody. Good meeting.
Sean, I went